everybody. Bill Weber along with Wally Donalback and Kyle Petty. Thanks for having us in for the race. This is a Car of Tomorrow race on a track we've been coming to for many years. So let's start with the new, Kyle. How about that car on this track?
I don't really know. You know, we've run it, what, 5 or 6 times. The one interesting part about this is a lot of these guys are running the exact same car here that they've run all year long. They've run it on every Car of Tomorrow track we've run. Now, the one thing about the Car of Tomorrow that I've seen so far is with the downforce that we created on the old car, when these cars spun, they spun wicked. They spun out of control. That's a Boston word, wicked, in case you wanted to know that. They spin really out of control. These cars, the car of today, or the Car of Tomorrow that we're running here, when they spin, they almost stop when they spin. We don't see the multi-car wrecks that we've seen with the other cars.
Well, no matter what car you put on this track, you do seem to get some interesting moments during the race.
Yeah, it does. It's a tough racetrack to pass on just because it is so narrow. Now, we did see a lot of good side-by-side racing yesterday in the Busch race, which is great. The Bears have worked on this track a lot, but normally first part of the race, everybody's pretty calm. But towards the end of the race, guys will get testy with each other, and they'll start running into each other, and they start losing their patience. So it makes it pretty exciting. And like Kyle said, I mean, you're going to see guys spin out, I think, today. It just depends how boxed up they are. You can spin out by yourself and not hurt the car, but there's a lot of guys that can run into you as well.
It's a lot of fun here to race at New Hampshire. This is the 8th race for the Car of Tomorrow. 8 more after this one. Cloudy skies, temperature about 71 degrees. Ideal day for racing and a packed house on hand this afternoon. We'll see how it all plays out here at the New Hampshire International Speedway. The fans are in their seats, the drivers in their cars. Right now, let's take you trackside once again and rejoin today's pre-race ceremonies.
The command the Lenox Industrials Tools 300 will be given by the President and CEO of Rubbermaid Company, Mark Ketchum.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Enjoy.
Has been won from the front row. We'll see how it plays out this afternoon in New Hampshire. NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing from New Hampshire is brought to you by Sprint. NASCAR Nextel Cup fans get things done with Nextel. By Wendy's hot and juicy burgers that are made to order. That's right. By the new F-Series Super Duty, built to work harder for you. And by the Principal Financial Group. For retirement, investments, insurance, and banking, we'll give you an edge. Cars just beginning to roll off of pit road here at New Hampshire, and you can see the stands are packed. The Budweiser Pole Award to Dave Blaney, career start number 250 for Dave, his second career pole and the first for Toyota in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. And here's the starting grid for today's race at New Hampshire. It is Dave Blaney on the pole and former New Hampshire winner Kurt Busch starting outside row 1.
Row 2, good runs for both these guys. Reed Sorensen on the inside. On the outside, Johnny Sauter in the 70 car.
Row 3, last week's winner, Mr. Montoya right there, and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Go back to row 4, you'll find Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon.
Row 5 on the inside, Martin Truex Jr. On the outside, a lot of people are talking about this guy here today, Jimmy Johnson.
Go back to row 6, you'll find Denny Hamlin and Ryan Newman. And while you look at the rest of the starting grid, Kyle's going to jump on the radio and see if he can get a hold of Kurt Busch.
Kurt Busch, this is Kyle Petty. Can you hear me?
10-4, Kyle.
Hey, man, this is a first race for the COT at a racetrack like this. You're a past winner here. How much different has it been this week with this car up here?
It's been a little different, but yet it's been just the same thing about getting 4 rubber tires to the racetrack. A little bit different on corner entry, the way that it sits down and kind of bounces left to right. And then when you get to the center of the corner, it's much higher as far as center of gravity. So it's a little harder to make it turn, but hey, that's what this car is all about, giving it that old school feel and making the drivers drive it again.
It's a little bit cooler here today than what the previous 2 practices have been. Is that gonna help you roll through the center and help you have a little grip up off the corner?
We definitely hope so. We loosened our car up a little bit, trying to make it turn a little better in the center. So cooler temperatures should complement our setup with the Miller Lite Dodge Avenger.
All right, man, we'll be watching you today. Take that Dodge to the front.
A lot of stories about to unfold. Before we go green, let's check with Shaheen.
Well, Bill, this team here, the Home Depot crew, there are 6 members from the New England area. Naturally, they always want to win, but there's an extra sense of pride if they can pull it off today. And when you talk about lap leaders, you have to talk about the 20 car. They've led nearly 38% of the Car of Tomorrow races, yet they haven't won. Could come here today, Marty. Tony Stewart's a former winner here.
Well, Ralph, speaking of hometowns, Martin Truex Jr. considers New Hampshire one of his hometown racetracks. The last time he was at a quote-unquote hometown racetrack, it was Dover, where he got his first career win with the car he's driving today. Talked to Martin moments ago. He said the car is very good, at least a top 5 car. And if the weather change and the strategy doesn't get us today, we can win this thing. Lindsay?
Marty, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was very vocal yesterday about how unhappy he was with his car. In fact, at one point, he classified it as flat out terrible. But his crew worked very hard. They did everything they could think of. And finally, before the end of final practice, they think they found something that just might work. We'll find out as Dale rolls off 6th here today. Matt Yoko.
1 year ago, the 48 team pulled a role player off the bench in Darian Grubby, scored 2 wins, had 4 straight top 10s filling in for Chad Knaus. This time, the ripple effect is a little bit different. Now, yes, car chief Ron Mallett has filled in as the crew chief role, but during the race, so that way they don't have 2 positions they have to fill, he will continue to be the tire carrier. Lance McGrew, championship Busch-winning crew chief, will call the race for Jimmy Johnson. Larry McReynolds?
Matt, I think the story here today will be tires, and in a good way. This tire that Goodyear brought here, it just does not slow down on a stopwatch. I think we get to the end of the race, get within 70 laps of the end, these guys will get tires and fuel. The crew chief will tell them, you got what you got, get up on that wheel.
Thanks, Larry. Hope you guys have a great race down there. The field coming to get the green this time. Slowly through turn 4. This race will be seen in over 75 countries. Glad you're along for the ride. Dave Blaney taking them to the green flag, and they're racing in New Hampshire on TNT. That was close. Blaney got it. 5 bonus points for Dave.
You know, but it's almost the same thing we saw yesterday in the Busch race. That outside line can hang with that inside line. And this is one of the few times we've been up here where those guys kind of, the outside line was a threat on you on restarts.
Reed Sorensen in that 41 car on board with Earnhardt Jr. Johnny Sauter in the 70 with a strong qualifying run that Wally talked about.
Sauter's hanging tough on the outside. Earnhardt Jr. wants to go, but he's just got nowhere to go. He's got Sauter right in front of him. He looked down at the low line once, but Sorensen was there. Now he'll make it 3 wide.
You know, he's just right in behind those guys. You saw him go in. You think the 70 car's got the advantage. You think the 41 car's got the advantage. One car wiggles and you're in the wrong line, and he was just in the wrong line. Now he's around the 70. You saw
like being on the highway, getting behind the wrong line all the time.
That's the way I am on the highway, man.
Juan Montoya in the 42, Jeff Gordon in the 24, Kevin Harvick in that 29 Pennzoil Chevrolet, Martin Truex Jr. right behind them.
And it looks like he can get 3 wide, but you can't. And, I mean, it's 2.5 wide. You'll see some of the guys get 3 wide down the backstretch going into 3 a lot of times, but somebody's got to back out. Normally it's a guy in the center. But this place is a lot better than it used to be as far as racing crews go.
It's a ton better. And I'm amazed so far that the outside line is the line that's going. That's like saying the outside line at Martinsville works. The outside line at Martinsville, here we go 3 wide. Here we're going to test it.
Oh, we got somebody in the wall.
It's Ward Burton smoking. Staying under green for now.
Yeah, that's coming out the pipes.
Now the yellow is out. First caution of the race, 4 laps complete.
Transmission on a motor, it really feels like a motor to old front.
Tough luck for Ward, good luck for Dave Blaney. He's the leader in New Hampshire. Still under caution here at New Hampshire. Ward Burton with engine woes. He's gone back to the garage. The field under the caution flag with 7 laps complete. Time now for our AT&T Race Talk question. Did the punishment that the 24 and 48 teams receive fit their infringement? Using the 50-cent word today. Text the word race to 191 on your AT&T wireless phone. Yes, the penalties were fitting. No, the penalties should have been tougher. No, the penalties should have been less severe.
Or D, all of the above.
That's how many of the Earnhardt fans are going to vote today.
Oh, yeah.
The outcome of this
yes.
poll.
Ward Burton brought out the caution.
Not on purpose, but...
Ooh.
He's obviously spun in his own oil trying to get back to the pits.
A hole in the oil pan for Ward.
A hole in the oil pan.
Blaney's car looked pretty good in happy hour.
In happy hour, Blaney was one of the better cars. Blaney and Tony Stewart, those were the 2 cars that could really run in the bottom groove. And I think you saw it right there at the start of the race. He'd go in the corner, turn left, and try to get down on the yellow line, where Kurt was going in the car, going in the corner, letting the car roll free, and up on the top side of the racetrack. And finally, the bottom groove came in, and he was able to get position on Kurt.
Yeah, we talked about this in happy hour yesterday, is that it's that left front. Everybody's concentrating on trying to get that left front on the racetrack. That's what makes you get around this place. If you look at Blaney and Stewart and some of these other guys, you watch the left front of their car. If that left front tire is digging asphalt through the corners and you can run that low line, you're going to pass a lot of cars, because 80% of them are going to be sliding up the racetrack in the middle of the corner. So if you can make your car work on the bottom, it sounds easy. You got 42 of the best teams in racing trying to do it, and it's not that easy. So if you can figure it out by shocks and your sway bars and your spring combination, that's the key, is getting that grip in the left front tire.
Our aerial coverage today provided by Goodyear. Good look down on the New Hampshire International Speedway. Mostly cloudy skies now. Any rain is expected after 8 o'clock Eastern time tonight. High temperature today about 71 degrees. Goodyear providing our aerial coverage today here in New Hampshire. 9 laps are complete. The field will go green when they get back to the line. Here is our race analysis. And the big thing, that pit window. Got to watch that. Smaller fuel tanks. Got to have enough fuel to get to the finish, similar to what we saw last week.
How many times have we seen a yellow come out with 80 to go, or right around that, 90 to go?
It's perfect. Pace car will head to pit road. Blaney, Kurt Busch, Reed Sorensen, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Johnny Sauter, the top 5. Then it's Jeff Gordon, Juan Pablo Montoya, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr., and Ryan Newman.
Blaney shut the door on Kurt Busch.
I mean, shut it.
I don't think Kurt appreciated that a whole lot.
I don't think so either. It looked like there was no daylight between those cars when they started off into turn 1.
Reed Sorensen thinking about making the move to the inside. Junior definitely thinking about it.
You know, I haven't really heard many of these guys talking, Kyle, about the aero loose on these things. You can't get a guy as loose as you used to with that rear wing on these cars now, can you, getting in the corner?
No, you don't get them as loose. When you're tucked up under somebody, you don't even feel them back there like you used to. Or when you're side by side. You know how we talk about going side by side into a corner and making the inside car kind of turn around? We've not run anywhere with these cars that's fast enough speed-wise to create that suction that kind of pulls you around. Here we are on the restart here, and you see how close. Right there, he almost looks like he has position. Let me tell you, it's a lot closer than that. Well, I don't care what the camera shows.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not sure he didn't even lay the bumper to him there just a little bit.
But we've not run anywhere where we've run the speeds getting into the corner anywhere where you feel where the car kind of takes the wind off. And I don't know if it's because a wing versus a spoiler, or if these cars are so much flatter down the side that the side forces are different. It's really hard to tell until we start running some of the speedways.
Reed Sorensen in that 41 car runs in the 3rd position. Let's get an update from Lindsay.
Bill, he's hanging on to that position. Reed feels like the track doesn't really have a lot of grip at this point in the race. That's what he just came on the radio and told his crew chief. But another thing that Reed has new is a ton of confidence. And one of the reasons he has confidence is because watching Juan Pablo, his teammate, get that win last week, they're well aware our machines do have, the capability to get up there to finish these races strong. And so that's one thing that he's got in his corner as he races today.
That's a good point, Lindsay, because you talk to some of those guys from Ganassi racing in the garage this weekend, and even though one team won, 3 teams feel it.
Oh, I think so, and trust me, even though you're working with each other, you're still competing against each other. I mean, if you're on a 2-car, 3-car team, 4-car team, whatever, you still want to be the best team out of that 4 teams. So, yeah, it kind of makes the other guys step up a little bit.
And winning is contagious, and I think even within a team, and when you look at it, the same group are building all these cars. The same group are building the 42, the 40, and the 41. It's the same group of fabricators, the same group's building the engines. It's just a different group that's taking them to the racetrack. So when a group all of a sudden goes to the racetrack and wins with one of the things, with one of these cars, the rest of the team say, hey, that's a good enough piece to win. We can win with it too.
Did you see Harvick there?
Yeah, Harvick looks like, I can't tell if he's pushing first. He's struggling getting into the corner, which almost makes me think he's a little bit loose getting into the corner as well, but he was definitely loose off. But on this racetrack, you could be pushing or be tight in the center, and you've got the wheel cranked, and when you get on the gas, the rear actually comes out on you on the exit of the corner. So sometimes it's hard to see what's happening first. But that's what you got to fix, is what's happening first. Is the car getting loose first, or is it tight first in the center of the corner? And that's what's making it do that on the exit.
It's Harvick in the 29, Truex Jr. in the 1. So Ryan Newman in the 12, Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car on his outside. Kyle Busch right behind him. It's all going on about the 8th position or so. Carl Edwards in that 99 car also on the move.
The one thing about this type place is it's a momentum racetrack. And when you get 2 cars running side by side that slow down maybe a 10th, 15, 100th, maybe as much as 2/10, everybody else catches up with them instantly. And if you get somebody hung on the inside or get somebody hung on the outside, like the 12 car appears to be hung down on the inside, not being able to get the run up off the corner and use all the power that the Penske engines have, he's just getting freight trained from the outside. And you don't see that a lot of places on a flat racetrack, getting freight trained from the outside.
Carl Edwards is moving his way up through the field. Get a report from Ralph.
Bill, he's charging up through the field, picking off 9 cars already here in the early stages of this one. But he does have one problem, and Wally, you could probably tell us more about how difficult this is. Most of these drivers have air that gets pumped up into their helmets to help keep them cool. His air is blowing, however, right into his eyes, and that can dry your eyes out real quick.
Yeah, it's funny. The helmets have changed over the years, and Kyle can attest to this. I mean, now they actually have the air pumping in a lot of the helmets on top of the helmet, which I ran earlier this year in the 24 Hours Daytona, which was the best cooling I've ever had in a helmet because it came down. But you've got to be careful not to open it up too much, because if you start working on that helmet, that air will blow down over your head, into the visor, and into your eyes. And what it does is it dries your eyeballs out. And I'll tell you what, that hurts when that starts happening. It also blows any little dust particles or anything like that into your eyes.
Under green here in New Hampshire, Dave Blaney continues to lead. Then it's Kurt Busch, Reed Sorensen, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. 26 laps complete here in New Hampshire. Dave Blaney continues to lead. Started on the pole, his 2nd career pole. Kurt Busch still trying to chase him. Jeff Gordon up to that 3rd spot.
Jeff Gordon looks like he's come on too. Just about the last 2 or 3 laps. He's been running some pretty good laps and closed right in on Kurt Busch in that 2 car. And now they're actually both catching up on Dave Blaney.
Let's get an update on the leader from Matt Yoakum.
Dave Blaney really hasn't said a whole lot in the radio, Bill, about his car, but it worked once, so Tommy Baldwin thought he would try it again. On the way to New Hampshire, they stopped off at a tiny bull ring, Connecticut, called Thompson Speedway. They had 2 race cars. They made a lot of 40-lap runs. They dialed in a certain setup, and it has pretty much worked all weekend. They won the pole Friday, hoping to score his first win today. Marty?
Well, Jeff Gordon just took over the second spot. Matt, the car, they found something in happy hour that helped Jeff out a lot, especially in this part of the run, from the middle to the end of a run. And these runs should be about 70 laps to 80 laps before these guys have to come to pit road for fuel. Steve Letarte is here in New Hampshire. In fact, attended the team debriefing last night and chimed in on the setup as well. Obviously, the car very fast. The purpose behind him, their Friday didn't go so well. They had a brake problem before qualifying. They had to change the entire brake system. Still went out and qualified second. After the qualifying effort, Kurt shook the hand of every team member and said thank you personally for the work they put in on Friday. Obviously, they have a very good car on Sunday as well, Bill.
Thanks, Marty. And I saw his crew chief, Pat Tryson, in the garage late this morning. You see Jimmy Johnson and Martin Truex Jr. racing side by side. Johnson trying to take the position and gets it. And Pat was pretty confident about their car and their chances today. And that two-car for Kurt Busch. There's Truex Jr. And back up front, Jeff Gordon right on the bumper of Blaney, now on his side. And Jeff Gordon takes the lead.
I'm going to tell you something. If you're the rest of the field, you don't want to see that right now because he has absolutely just methodically, one by one, just come up through there. And he is a ton faster, not only through the center right now, and that's where Blaney was really good yesterday, was right through the center. He is hooked up when he gets that thing pointed straight. Like Wally said yesterday, you want to get these cars where they run straight up off the corner. And you saw Jeff be able to pull out on the 22 just because he had a straight run at him.
Marty?
As Gordon's obviously very fast, as we talked about in the middle part of this run. But one thing they were a little worried about, they thought that the sun, when it came out, might hurt their setup a little bit. They tuned for the clouds. Remember, Jeff Burton in our All-State Countdown to Green mentioned that. He said, you know what will hurt the teams the most if it's sunny than cloudy. Sunny than cloudy. Gordon would rather have the clouds out today.
This is the 25th race for the Nextel Cup Series here at New Hampshire. Jeff Gordon has led in 17 of them. Reed Sorensen in fourth, Earnhardt Jr. in fifth.
Junior just hasn't been able to, he's been up beside him a couple times, but he just hasn't been far enough ahead of him to, to make the pass getting off the corners.
Yeah, these guys have been racing since they dropped the green flag with each other. Junior's not seen anything but that Energizer 41 car right in front of him. That's been his whole race so far.
Lindsay.
Well, and I told you guys earlier about how much difficulty he was having during final practice yesterday. He said on the radio that it's real tight getting into the turns. And what happened was when they first brought it here, they felt like the setup was really strong. They went, switched some stuff, got it to a point where they couldn't even control it. And then yesterday, that's when they swapped it back. So again, right now, Junior very tight. They're hoping that they can make the right adjustments when they bring him in.
33 laps are complete. Junior trying to make the move on the inside.
Yeah, that's where you need to clear a guy right there. Now, he'll try to run him down into 1 and 2 here. If he can get in front of him and slide up the track on the exit of 2, and he's clear right now, then he's got it. And Sorensen may just had enough.
And there you see Kurt Busch take the second spot away from Blaney right in front of those other guys. So Jeff Gordon has worked his way from 8th to 1st. Kurt Busch runs 2nd. Then it's Dave Blaney. Earnhardt Jr. in 4th, trying to get 3rd.
You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
40 laps are complete at the New Hampshire International Speedway. Jeff Gordon is the race leader. Here are the results from our AT&T Race Talk question.
Boy, I think that's the most even pole that we've ever had.
And that's pretty much what you get in the garage, too. You'll get varying opinions on the same subject. Jeff Gordon is the race leader. Let's check with Marty.
Guys, Jeff Manring is filling in for the next 6 weeks for Steve Letarte, and the man has worked his way up to this point with the Hendrick Motorsports organization. Actually got into the sport because he wanted to be a driver, but he happened to mow Gary Nelson's lawn, former NASCAR employee, and Gary got him a job with Hendrick Motorsports, sweeping the floors, running the parts in the chassis shop at Hendrick Motorsports. And then when Robbie Loomis was forming the 48 team, he asked Manring if he wanted to come and set up the cars in the shops. Did that for 2 years. Then he got moved over over to the 2014 with Robbie Loomis and Steve Letarte and those guys, and he was the car chief for the last 2 years. He has come by it honestly, through the system, through hard work. Oddly enough, the same way Steve Letarte came up. Of course, he was mowing Ray Evernham's lawn when he got his first gig at Hendrick Motorsports. Hard-working young man, smart young man, moved over to the mechanic side and is now crew chiefing, from mowing lawns to crew chiefing here in the Nextel Cup.
And so far, it's working out pretty well, Marty. Gordon with a 2.3 second lead over second place Kurt Busch. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has made it up to the third spot. Blaney runs fourth. Sorensen fifth. 24 races here. Jeff Gordon has 3 wins. Last one was back in August of '98.
It's got to be a cool feeling, though, to work your way up in an organization and be sitting on the box for the first time and your driver drives to the front.
Now, how about this?
Yeah, there's a lot of trash on the front of Blaney's car. Now, I don't know if it's overheating. I would think that would actually help the downforce in the front, which I'd like to get to Larry on that eventually. But Matt, is he saying anything about it overheating?
Under the first caution, Wally, Dave Blaney came on the radio and told Tommy Baldwin, he says the temperatures are actually a little lower, but Tommy told him, look, the temperatures today a lot cooler than they were at the beginning of final practice, but there's a lot of debris floating around on the racetrack from the pre-race ceremonies. It's already starting to get chalked up in the grill. That'll help until we get to our first stop, and we'll pull some tape off and work a little more on the handling of this race car, because it has gotten a lot tighter. You can see right there a lot of debris already accumulating on the grill.
Hey, Larry, what is the situation with the noses of these cars? I mean, obviously, the more tape, the better, you know, downforce you get on the front of the older cars. Are they saying the same thing with the COT cars?
Yeah, I think they're still learning about that, Wally. I don't know that it makes as much downforce on the nose when you add that tape to it. But what's deceiving is you see that area like on the 22 car that's starting to block up with trash. There's actually an area above that you can't see that's actually angled, that's open. But the one thing that concerned me as I walked through the garage area this morning, if you see right under the Camry on the front bumper, there's actually openings there, but a lot of the teams have opted to go with tape on that just to help the front downforce, but it doesn't give you a lot of margin of error if you get trash on that bottom opening.
I'll tell you one thing that I'm looking at as we look at this, and everybody's talking about the radiator, it's the trash on the duct, on the brake ducts.
Yeah.
These brake ducts, man, as much brake as you use here, and you were talking about the 5 car earlier, we're going to watch him because he's hammering those brakes. His right side brake duct is almost completely closed off with that one piece of trash, and the right front is the one that takes the most abuse. When we stop on pit road and get brake temperatures, the right front's the one that has the most temperature in it. It's the one that heats up and can blow a bead on a tire sometimes. So I'd be as much concerned about my brake temperature right now as I was about my radiator temperature.
48 laps complete in the Lenox Industrial Tools 300. Jeff Gordon from 8th to 1st. Carl Edwards from 22nd to 10th. Jeff Gordon continues to lead here in New Hampshire. Dale Earnhardt Jr. second, Kurt Busch third, and Gordon is really starting to lap a number of race cars. Elliott Sadler just got knocked off the lead lap. On the Move is brought to you by the Principal Financial Group. We'll give you an edge. Look at those 3 Roush cars. Edwards, McMurray, and Kenseth. Tony Raines and Sterling Marlin also making their way through the field. And you got to be pedaling fast because Gordon is really charging hard.
You know, it's amazing we talk about the Roush cars because yesterday as we watched Happy Hour and we talked about Happy Hour, we talked about how the Fords had struggled. And as a group and as a whole, the organization, the Fords had struggled. And all of a sudden when we see the biggest movers, these guys are the guys that have come from, are just cutting their way through the field today.
Tony Stewart getting around Montoya, now on the bumper of Blaney. Blaney runs in the 10th spot. Larry, what are you working on?
Well, I've been watching the same thing with especially the Roush Fords. They only had one car that qualified in the top 25, Carl Edwards in the 99. I talked to his crew chief this morning, Bob Osborne, and he said as a whole, as the group, they just could not cut that fast lap on Friday. But I know for the most part, all of them felt good about long runs. And guess what we're getting right now?
A very long run.
You got it.
56 laps complete.
And it's amazing. You get frustrated as a team and as a driver sometimes. You go to the racetrack and you think, my God, there's no way I can pick up 6/10. There's no way I can bust that lap off. But then when you go to happy hour and you start in a practice, yeah, your fastest lap is not within a half second of what the fastest lap there is, but your slowest lap is a lot closer. And you work in a smaller area, and the long runs, just like Larry said, are what take you from the back to the front, because these guys may have started at a 29 flat, dropped off to a 31 flat. You started at a 29.80 and you dropped off to a 30.90. You're going to be there before they get there.
Right. Matt?
Position build out in turn one, a number of cars early on locking up the left front. That's exactly what Kyle Busch is doing in the 5. He says the entry's not too bad, but the car just will not rotate to the center of the corner. Already formulating a game plan as we're about 20 laps away from the first stop, Smarty.
Right in front of him, Matt, is Juan Montoya, of course, coming off the big win last week. So the car is a little bit better through the middle of the corner than it was yesterday. Still loose on the entry, though. He's making some steady progress. I asked him about his win last week and how he kind of downplayed things in victory lane afterward. He said, honestly, I did that because I was just flat relieved. I expected me to win last week. I think everybody else expected me to win last week. So when I was able to do it, it was like, whew, got that one over with. Now I'm done. I can move on and try to get my second win. And he said the next one is coming on an oval.
You know, getting back to what Matt was talking about, that 5 car, we were talking about earlier about that left front being in the racetrack. Kyle Busch doesn't have that left front in the racetrack if he's locking up that left front brake getting into the corners.
That's a great point. That's a good. The left front, when it gets light, when you brake hard and the car rolls to the right, like you're talking about it not being in a racetrack, when it lifts up a little bit and gets lighter, you're going to burn that left front off of it. And especially at this point in time, where the tires are getting less and less grip-wise, they're losing more of their grip.
Carl Edwards up to 7th. Ralph Shaheen.
Bill, he's absolutely flying. He's charged from 22nd to 7th. His last lap time, a 30.7. Jeff Gordon, by the way, a 30.8. And I'll tell you, the one thing that I'm hearing more than anything on the radio, Kyle, is just enthusiasm, enthusiasm, enthusiasm from the crew. Carl, you can do it. Great job. Keep going. These guys are pumping him up so much, it's enough to make you think anybody could do this.
Edwards started 22nd, has raced his way to the 7th spot. But right now, everybody is chasing Jeff Gordon. 61 laps are complete. We're already approaching the pit window here at New Hampshire. "66 laps are complete, and we're beginning to see pit stops. There's your race leader, Jeff Gordon. And there is Dave Blaney, the pole sitter on pit road, and Matt Yoakum is there.
Bill, his car, he says, has gone completely bad. So bad, he said, it is so tight, I don't know if we're going to be able to fix it. They're going to make a significant track bar adjustment. Up 2.5 rounds on this 22 Caterpillar Toyota, trying to complete the sweep of winning the first pole for Toyota and its first win. He's away.
Now Jeff Gordon has made his move to pit road as well. There you see Casey Kane. There's Gordon in the 24. Started 8th. He's headed for Marty.
Well, Bill, Jeff Gordon was actually supposed to pit last lap, but missed pit road, was able to make it back around with no problems. He said the car started out loose on the run, back in not having enough grip, and it never really got any better. What they did, one round down the track bar, trying to tighten up that car just a little bit. 4 tires and a pretty quick stop for the 2014 as well.
There's Matt Kenseth on pit road getting service to his machine. Let's check with Matt.
Blowing a lot of brake dust out of that left front on Harvick. No forward bite. He says that it's just terrible up off. There's a little bit of debris on the left front corner brake duct area. They didn't get that off. To Lindsey Zarniak.
Matt Dale Earnhardt Jr. just pulled in, and man, is he happy. We talked about all the problems they had before, but he said the longer they run, the better his car gets. They're going to give him 4 tires, fuel, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. is gone. Ralph.
Tony Stewart just completed his pit stop. He wanted an air pressure adjustment on that car. He wanted to go up on that air pressure to work on the forward bite, Bill. Matt?
Jimmy Johnson's service already complete for Ron Malik and Lance McGrew and company. They were going to go for a spring rubber, decided against that. Jimmy says the car is just way edgy, loose. And and the 12 of Ryan Newman. These guys have really come together over the past month and a half. Newman was concerned. He says the first corner, first lap, he went to hit the brakes, and the rotors were warped, hoping that would go away with a lot of heat on those brakes. He said the car a little too tight in the center of the corner, but not bad. Marty?
Meanwhile, his teammate Kurt Busch started second, stayed in the top 5 for that entire run. He said middle of the corner off, he needs to be able to stand on the gas a little bit more, a little too loose for him. It'll be 4 tires, down 1 round on the track bar, trying to get a little more grip in the middle of the corners. Matt?
And Denny Hamlin has just about done it all except score a victory in the Car of Tomorrow races. He has dominated so many times, especially on the flat mile Phoenix. An air pressure jump. It says the car was hopping in the center of the corner. That's the area, Ralph, he needed help most.
Take a deep breath and visualize was the last word the crew heard as they went over the wall. They're going to make just minimal air pressure adjustments for Carl Edwards. They are very happy with this race car. Why shouldn't they be? They charged from 22nd to the lead before heading down pit road. Service is done and away he goes. Lindsay.
Well, the 25 of Casey Mears is going to pull on in. Casey, who said that his car had been a little bit tight in loose up. They also were going to give Casey 4 tires and fuel.
They continue to work on the car of Casey Mears, waiting for Kyle Busch to make his pit stop. Mears is away. His teammate rolling down pit road, headed for you, Matt.
Bill, you have to be impressed with how Kyle Busch and his team, they haven't lost their focus with the announcement that he would be leaving his team at season's end. He says the car is just really tight. Look for a big track bar adjustment. You can see the wrench in the back window. 10th in the championship standings. The young man who won the first Car of Tomorrow race at Bristol. Looking for another win today. Marty.
Greg Biffle is coming down pit road as well, Matt, right now to serve a penalty. Now headed back out on the racetrack. We'll check on that, Bill.
Speeding penalty for Biffle, also for John Andretti in the 45, David Gilliland in the 38, and Joe Nemechek in the 13. All too fast on pit road. That green flag round of pit stops started with 66 laps completed. 74 are now done, and Earnhardt Jr. leads at New Hampshire. He's on. NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing from New Hampshire is brought to you by Pizza Hut. Taco the Pizzone. From America's favorite pizza, Pizza Hut, now online. By Toyota, moving forward. By Allstate, official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. By UPS, proud sponsor of Dale Jarrett's 44 Toyota. Go, Dale, go. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it. 80 laps complete here at New Hampshire. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the race leader. He has now led, let's see, 7 laps today. In the last 9 races, he's only led a total of 4 laps. Here's the Pepsi pit command.
I got to say, I am blown away by him leading this race. After watching him in happy hour yesterday and listening to everything that they said, everything they said over their monitors, how disgusted he was at the end of it. Those guys must have come in this morning and totally regrouped and got a brand new focus, because he was a little bit impatient there at the beginning, then backed her up, went around the 41, and he's driven straight to the front. Pit stops and the way that things worked out has helped him, but he's kept that car up front.
Larry, what do you notice?
Well, what I have noticed is we've been concerned. All the talk has been, how will these teams be without their actual crew chief on the pit box? When I look at the top 4, 3 of these drivers are operating without their crew chief right now. And this does not mean that they do not miss Tony Eury Jr., Steve Letarte, or Chad Knaus. I think this says a lot for the depth that these guys have built within those teams and how strong these teams are, even without their actual crew chief.
But you want to feel wanted, don't you? Always.
Lindsay on the race leader.
Bill, and I want to second what Larry just said about that, because we were talking in the garage this morning with Tony Gibson, and Tony had talked about how Tony Eury Jr., he's here at the track, he's outside watching from a motorhome out there, but, they did begin to try to send text messages like Larry had said earlier and try to, increase information flow that way. It didn't work because it took too long. So now, they'll get calls from Tony every day, basically, to follow up and talk about game plans, but this team has really pulled it together. Marty?
One Lindsay, I was talking to one crew chief in the Nextel Cup Series on Friday, and I'd love to get Larry Mack's opinion on this. He said he doesn't think the suspension's that big of a deal, Larry Mack, because if you're suspended and you're a crew chief sitting at home, you're on NASCAR.com, you can see all the telemetry of your race car. You're in a quiet environment. You're able to make decisions, text message the team, instant message the team, hell, whatever you want to do. It's a completely different environment today being suspended, because it used to be you could be nowhere near the racetrack. Now you can be sitting on the backstretch, have a ticket, and be just fine.
Well, I know, Marty, in 2001, when I started doing the broadcast work and left the crew chief business, when I went up top of the racetrack, up in the broadcast booth, I went, my Lord, I've been in the wrong position. I like what I'm seeing up here. I can see things about my race car, but more importantly, other people's race car, information I would love to have had for all those years. So, yeah, I think with the technology we have, Marty, there's a lot of ways that these guys can communicate, but I think this is a big tip of the hat to the depth that they built within these three race teams.
But it also raises another question that we can discuss throughout the afternoon is, are the penalties severe enough for the infractions that were given, or do you need to do something else other than quote-unquote suspend and fine points and money?
But I don't think when NASCAR's intention is when they suspend the crew chief, I don't think it is to absolutely positively knock the team from a winning team back to a 43rd place team. Okay, I don't think that's the intention of that rule. I think the intention is, let's get the crew chief's attention, let's get the team's attention, let's get the rest of the field. A lot of times these fines, let's be honest, are thrown out there for the other 42 competitors, not for the competitors that you know, are penalized by it. But I think another thing, looking at a crew chief that's suspended, is sitting outside the racetrack, and just like Larry just said, watching the race or seeing what's going on in the garage area from 10,000 feet, not being right there in the middle of it. Maybe you pick out a few different things, pinpoint in on those things, focus on those, and you become more of an engineer and more of a strategic guy, a strategy guy. And maybe that's what they're using more of, and maybe it is a better place for them to be sometimes.
Hey, guys, not because I work for Turner. I love the Atlanta Braves. How many times has Bobby Cox been kicked out of ball games? You know what? They didn't make the Braves miss a game, though.
I think we can continue this discussion throughout the afternoon.
All afternoon.
Earnhardt Jr. out front, Jeff Gordon chasing, then it's Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, and Ryan Newman in the Lenox Industrial Tools 300. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the race leader. Go to NASCAR.com and get Track Pass to see the same inside angles on every driver all race long. On board with Earnhardt.
Junior's gotten a little bit of traffic here, which has let Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch gain some ground on him. He needs to kind of really try to, you know, not force the issue, but he's got to get past these guys as fast as he can, because these guys behind him are catching him.
You know, it's just...
Caution is out for debris in turn 3.
Debris in turn 3.
And we have heard a report from pit road that David Rudiman is running on 7 cylinders, and the possibility the debris came off of the car of Jeremy Mayfield, which is on pit road.
You know, it's going to be interesting to see how they, for me, I'm just going to say it, it's going to be interesting to see how they fix the front of this 36. This is something we've talked about all year long, about the splitters falling off in the front ends. How are we going to tape these things up? You saw them trying to stretch a bungee cord across.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the way we held tailpipes on 20 years ago with bungee cords, or you held it in gear when we had trouble with it popping out of gear. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works when we get out on the racetrack.
I think he just said it.
Yes.
It ain't going to work.
Sterling Marlin is the lucky dog. He will come around and be the 28th car on the lead lap.
You can see the brackets, the center bracket and the one to the left has been broken, and that won't last. I mean, there's a lot of force on that bottom piece right there. So
go ahead, go.
The other thing you can see on here, the other thing is right in the middle, you can see how thin it is, like it really has been hitting hard on the racetrack. I really thought we'd see that at Sonoma last week, but we didn't see a lot of it.
The way they've got that, he's going to have lift in the front of that car now. That ain't going to help him.
That's not going to help.
Marty.
Jeff Gordon hits pit road running second. I can tell you Jeff Mandering had to make this call last second because he talked about a track bar adjustment. Jeff Gordon waved that off last second, went on an air pressure adjustment, wants to roll the center like he used to. They'll take 4, many will take 2 here. Lindsay?
Marty, Dale Earnhardt Jr. wants to make sure to take good care of that track position. They brought him in, gave him 4 tires. He says his brakes are warped up a bit, but right now they think they took care of it, Matt.
Lindsey, 2-tire change for Jimmy Johnson in the 48 machine. They also made a slight track bar adjustment, just trying to improve the balance, both a little tight and loose. Ralph?
At the 99 of Carl Edwards, just a little bit snug. He's been running in 7th place. They made a small air pressure adjustment as they changed 4 tires of fuel. He's good to go, Bill.
Thanks, Ralph. Well, we'll sort out the running order, see how 2 tires work. Didn't play out very well in the Busch race yesterday. See what happens this afternoon in New Hampshire.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
This is Loudon.
100 laps are complete, getting ready to go green. This time, Kurt Busch is the race leader. Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson took just 2 tires. Jeremy Mayfield is being held by NASCAR for 2 laps. He ran the paddle at the end of pit road and passed emergency equipment on the track at a higher rate of speed than he should have, so Jeremy's going to serve that penalty. We told you the 00 was on 7 cylinders. A plug wire had come off. They've reattached that, so we'll see how that works out for David Rudiman. He currently runs in the 39th spot, 1 lap down.
This is where that track position starts coming to play, Kyle, because if you're 8th or 9th, they're starting 18th or 19th because of these cars down on the bottom. A lot of guys got put a lap down on that last run.
And you know, we saw this in the Busch race. 2 tires really weren't that great on the get-go, but after about 8 or 10 laps, it kind of leveled out. The point was, once again, there's only 2 cars up front that took 2 tires. You'd rather it be like 10 or 15, so you've got plenty of cushion. But those guys on new tires, they'll be a little bit better to begin with, but they will equal out after about 10 or 15 laps.
We can't sneak in our pit summary, brought to you by NASCAR Hot Pass, only on DirecTV. Earnhardt and Gordon, 4 tires each. Let's get an update on Kurt Busch from Marty.
Well, guys, talked to Pat Tryson this morning as Dale Earnhardt Jr. goes around Jimmy Johnson on the racetrack for the 2nd position. Tryson, of course, the crew chief for Kurt Busch, who now has the lead. He said, you know, and many other crew chiefs said as well, they felt like track position was more important than tires. You're exactly right, Kyle. They're willing to sacrifice those first 8 or 10 laps in order to run fast at the end of the run and have that track position.
Dave Blaney started on the pole. He's currently 26th in the running order. Told from pit road that his car is extremely tight. Blaney started off so strong, too. He's fallen through the field. You see Kurt Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jimmy Johnson runs 3rd. Gordon's in 4th.
But we talk about track position, and this is a good example right here. You see how far ahead the 2 and the 48 are. They're half a straightaway ahead of the 1 and the 12, those guys. Those guys, by the time they catch up to the 2 and you know, to the 2 and the 48, their tires are going to be almost equal, even though their tires have a few more. So that's why when you talk about track position, it just gives you an opportunity to run on clean track and get away from those guys.
How about that 17 car, Ralph?
Well, he took just 2 tires and fuel. That helped gain him a lot of track position. And I spoke with Robbie Reiser earlier this morning about the setup on this car. He said, you know, we were dead stinking last on the speed chart when we got here Friday morning. He goes, I've thrown more stuff at this than ever before. They just keep working at it.
Junior working for the lead, and he's got it around Kurt Busch. So Dale Earnhardt Jr. reassumes the lead here in New Hampshire.
And I think Junior probably knew a little bit what Kyle was talking about. If he was going to have to get this thing done before those tires started to equal out. So he was in a hurry to get by Kurt Busch and the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson.
Lindsey on the race leader.
Man, Bill, you guys should have heard those fans cheer from down here in the pits when number 8 took over the lead. He feels great about his car right now. In fact, right after that last pit stop, I heard him scream over his radio, yeah, boy. His crew asked who he was talking about. He said, I just saw a friend. Turns out he had seen Tony Uri Jr.'s bus. Matt.
And you can hear just the calmness on the radio, this 48 team talking about how people stepping up and being able to go to the bench with Lance McGrew, who won a Busch championship here at Hendrick. A lot of calmness on the radio. Jimmy two tires. He said, basically, if I don't clip the apron, I have to really wait on the throttle because it's just so tight in the center of the corner.
Thanks, Matt. So Dale Earnhardt Jr. knows where Tony Eury Jr. is, watching the race from outside the track. Junior leads at New Hampshire. There's your race leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. with 113 laps complete. Junior leads Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Kurt Busch, and Martin Truex Jr. And it has been a strong run for Dale Earnhardt Jr. this afternoon, after struggling on Saturday. There you see the margin. Back to second place, Jimmy Johnson. There's been some racing going on around the track. Let's see what we can go back and take a look at here. This is Denny Hamlin and Juan Montoya.
Yeah, we talked about earlier just losing your patience a little bit. You give the guy a nudge just a little bit, just to break the rear traction on the rear tires, enough to get up beside him and pull off the pass. Now that's the nice way to do it, Kyle.
That is the nice way to do it. That was very... But you see the difference. One got hit from behind, the other got hit from the side. The 70 drifted up into the 21 and knocked his rear end around. The one thing with the COT is this. In the past, when we've run these cars, when you'd get up under somebody coming off the corner and get into them, you'd almost jack their rear tires up in the air. You'd almost lift them off the ground. The cars would get really light in the rear, and the car would spin around. Aero-wise and mechanically. It was both. You compounded the problem. With these cars, the front bumper and the rear bumpers are exactly the same height. So when you get into somebody, it's like bump drafting at Daytona or Talladega. You almost knock them forward. And when you knock them forward a little bit, it puts them in a different place on the racetrack, and you can cut left and go around them. So you see a lot more nudging with these cars, or I think you're capable of a lot more nudging with these cars than with the other cars.
I think as long as it's coming off the corner. I still think if you tap a guy going into the corner, there's not a whole lot the guy that you tap is going to be able to do to save it.
But the point on that is one of the dirtiest moves in racing is to run into somebody getting into the corner. I don't care what you say. To knock a guy, to knock a guy out of the way getting into the corner. Everybody says, okay, I'm good with you coming off. You know what I mean? I'm good with that. Just knock me, hit me, whatever you want to do. In the middle of the corner, it's kind of okay. Right. But going in when you're trying to get in where you need to be, that's not a good move.
That's 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th right there. In the 10th position is Kevin Harvick. Matt?
Bill Harvick, like we mentioned earlier, trying to pull for his 5th career weekend sweep. They've got a lot of work to do to the race car. It has gone from being barely tight to neutral to now it is absolutely plowing. In fact, talking to one other driver this weekend, talking about what KP was talking about, he said, this weekend you're going to see in New Hampshire, it's so tough to pass, it's to be more like dropping back and punting. That's how you're going to have to pass people here, Ralph.
Matt, Carl Edwards is thinking a lot about his good friend Sam Russell today, who had a bicycle accident earlier this week and suffered some very serious injuries. It's been on his mind all weekend long. He wants to make sure Sam knows he's thinking of him, and he's using Sam for inspiration as he charges back towards the front again here today, Bill.
And he is charging again, Ralph. You're right. Kenseth giving up the positions there. Newman has gotten around. Now Edwards and Harvick trying and takes it. So that moves Ryan Newman into the 7th spot. And Carl to 8th. Then Harvick. Oh, and then Matt really loose getting off the turn. Up front, the Great 8 leads at New Hampshire. 120 laps complete in the Lenox Industrial Tools 300 on TNT. We're under caution here in New Hampshire. The caution was for debris in turn 4. The leaders have already been on and off of pit road. Some took fuel only, some just 2 tires. There were some 4-tire stops as well. Let's get you up to date, starting with Matt Yoakum.
And Bill, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, Lance McGrew said, hey, what do you think about fuel only? He says, whatever you want to do. That's exactly what they did. They took fuel only. Meanwhile, the 12 of Newman and the 5 of Busch, right side tires to Lindsay.
Thanks, Matt. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was down on pit road. He said his car's not quite as good as it was before. They gave him 2 right side tires, also brushed a bit so they could make sure there wasn't anything in the brake ducts. To Marty.
Don't you love it when the strategy is all over the map for Jeff Gordon back there in the 24 car. He came out of pit road and down pit road, took on 2 tires in that 24 car, and up on the track bar for Jeff Gordon. They wanted to get the track bar back to where it was at the beginning of the race, where they were very fast. Ralph?
Very, very minor adjustments on the 99. Again, that's all they're doing down here. Still working on the forward bite for Carl Edwards. Just took a quarter pound of air out of the right side tires, and that's all they put on the car was right side tires. That's very happy with this 99, Bill.
Thanks, Ralph. So it's Jimmy Johnson, Earnhardt Jr., Newman, Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, the top 5, then Carl Edwards, Jeff Burton, Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, and Juan Pablo Montoya. Our AutoZone in the zone. First time Nextel Cup winners in 2007. Of course, last week, Juan Pablo at Sonoma. Clint Boyer was also back out on the track. He's on pit road now with the hood up. His car was smoking heavily after their pit stop. So
yeah, that almost looked like a line or something came off, or as much oil as was pouring on that engine. What they find, Lindsay?
That's exactly what it was, Wally. The oil line is off the oil filter, so not exactly what these guys want to be dealing with right now.
No. And it was strange because when the caution came out, nothing was wrong with the car. He comes down pit road, pits, leaves, and everything's wrong with the car. So that's, you know, it's funny how things like that work.
Still under caution here at New Hampshire. Jimmy Johnson is the new leader. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Still under caution here at New Hampshire. You see the field on the track, and Ryan Newman going down pit road. He's going down to serve a penalty, and here's what it is. Watch him come into his pit stall.
Yeah, you watch that front hose there. You cannot run over the air hose when you're leaving the pits, and he clearly does. And Kyle, you've seen it happen. Sometimes that gets ugly when you rip a hose off the tank.
It gets incredibly ugly when that hose snaps in half and has air pressure on it. But let me just say this: that's been a pit penalty since 1948. Since they started using air guns, you couldn't run over hoses.
Matt.
And Bill, they brought Ryan Newman back in because he had a stop and go penalties, and they decided to go ahead and change left side tires. Now Ben Brown, the tire changer, he is actually on his second impact gun. This is the first. This is what was ripped out of his hands, and that's what's left of the hose.
Thanks, Matt.
I tell you, that just looked like one of those situations where the tire guy, when he whipped the hose and got ready to get it out of the way, the hose didn't come as far out of the way as what he wanted to. Obviously, Ryan knew they were going to change 2 tires. He didn't cut the car as far to the right as what he normally would to get out of the pits because he had a free shot out. So he ends up running over just the edge of it.
1 to go. Larry.
Hey, guys, what I want you to look at on that pit stop is the tire carrier. He was trying to help his tire changer. Now, watch him as he brings the tire around. He's dragging the hose out there, and I think what happened, he actually drug too much out there, and then when the tire changer tried to go back around the car to get out of the way, he couldn't pull all that hose back with him. Watch as he goes back. You see how it's looped out there? And he's going to run back with it, and he just can't get it all out there. The tire carrier thought he was helping, but actually I think he hurt the situation.
Yeah, that's a good point, because the part he drug out was almost exactly the amount of hose that was left.
So, hey, Matt. Matt, you busy?
Go ahead, Bill.
So he took the gun with him, right?
Yes, sir. Okay. He left the pit box with the equipment, and that's what the penalty was for.
Okay, thanks a lot. Want to make sure we got that pointed out. Go ahead. Do you have something else to add there, Matt?
No, sir.
Okay, thanks, man. So Ryan Newman back in the 27th position on the restart. So that's fuel only for the 48, huh?
Yeah, fuel only. Oh, Junior, take a look, and you see the 48 is spinning the tires, getting off the corner, just enough for Earnhardt to get on the inside. And, well, I don't know if Jimmy Johnson's going to be able to hold him off.
Earnhardt took 2 tires. Kyle Busch runs in the 3rd spot. Side by side for the lead, Matt.
And Bill, this is where the patience of the defending series champion is going to have to come in, because basically his biggest complaint before the stop, which they didn't make any tire changes, was the fact that he needed help on exit. Forward bite was his biggest complaint.
You see Earnhardt got it a little bit sideways, just like Jimmy Johnson did over in turn 2. It was just enough for Jimmy Johnson to clear him.
And what we have here, you've got one car up front that didn't change any tires. You've got one car right behind him that changed 2 tires. And you say, well, why can't that guy just drive around him? He's got 2 tires that are better. The main reason is the right side pressures are down. So the car's balanced wrong right now as far as he's concerned. The car's a little bit sloppy on the right side. Car may push up, snap loose on him, whatever. So he's got to wait for those pressures to come up to really be able to take advantage of the right side tires.
Kyle Busch isn't waiting. Around Junior, and now sets out after his teammate, Jimmy Johnson. And Kyle Busch is going home to Las Vegas this coming week. Going to race, I think, on the dirt track out there on Tuesday night. Part of a big show they've got planned. So Kyle Busch heading back to Vegas this week. Junior trying to come back.
Yeah, Earnhardt doesn't want to do too much damage to that 5 car.
No, I don't think Kyle wants to give him any room this year or next year. Let's just go ahead and say it, put it that way.
Kyle Busch, of course, leaving Hendrick Motorsports at the end of this season. Dale Earnhardt Jr. going there.
What's interesting as we watch this group up here and we talk about track position, okay, Ryan Newman lost every bit of track position he had. He's not going to be able to just click off these people and pass them and get back up. So at home, as you're watching this, just keep an eye on Ryan Newman about every 10, 15, 20 laps as we go through to see how he progresses and see how much pit strategy comes in to getting him back up front.
Yeah, when he's back there in that traffic, he's running about a second slower than he was before they came in for the yellow and the pit stop. It's just he's in a lot of traffic. A second a lap, you are going to lose a lot of time on the leaders. These guys are in line, file, and they're running really good laps. And 12 cars stuck in traffic right now, Ryan Newman.
He's only been able to pick up a couple of spots. Marty.
Well, guys, Jeff Gordon's out there, and anytime you have a new crew chief or a fill-in crew chief situation like Gordon has, you got to establish the communication. After that pit stop, Jeff had a little advice for his fill-in crew chief, Jeff Mandarin.
Well, we thought we had some radio there. Marty, were you listening to that conversation?
Yes, Bill, I was. I will summarize, if you will. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. And what happened was, on the radio, he said, when the jack drops down, that's my signal to go. Don't tell me to go, because I think go means whoa. So Jeff started to go, then stopped, and then went once he realized nobody was in his way and there was no problem. So that's the communication they've got down the 24 pit. The jack from now on will mean that's my signal for Jeff Gordon to leave pit road.
You're just all over it, aren't you, Marty?
I try to be, Weber. I try to be.
Good job there, Marty. But we talked about that in pre-race and in some of the pre-race shows. What's it like to have a new crew chief? What's it like to communicate with somebody you're not used to communicating with? Obviously, Steve never says anything. Go, whoa, no, they all sound the same, man. I don't care. And when somebody's screaming that in your ear and you're used to absolutely nothing when you leave the pits because your signal is when it drops, then it changes the way you do things. So Jeff's saying, take me back to where I was. Don't say anything.
It's Jeff Burton in the 31, Jeff Gordon in the 24. Burton has had a lot of success at this track, but not a lot lately.
Burton was one of the cars yesterday that I thought was really going to be, and obviously I'm an idiot. I shouldn't even watch practice because the cars I thought were going to be strong today, the 22, the 31, and the 20, I thought they were going to go to the front and check out on everybody. They've struggled to get to the front. They've been able to maintain, but they just can't get to the front.
Our Toyota track fact, the last time a driver led every lap in a race was September of 2000. Jeff Burton right here, one of his 4 wins at this track. In the 24 races here, he has 11 top 10 finishes.
But that was in very different circumstances than what we're racing today.
That's right, exactly.
We were racing restrictor plate racing. Both Kyle and I were in that race, and I don't think anybody passed anybody.
Like we said yesterday, nobody passed anybody on the racetrack, going to the airport, in the air, going home. Nobody passed anybody all day long.
Your track position was where you qualified.
Exactly.
That's pretty much where you finished.
Exactly.
Matt on the race leader, Kyle Busch.
And right before we started getting those rash of cautions, Bill, Kyle Busch came on the radio and says, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong, but didn't we have like a race here that went caution-free like, I don't know, a decade or 15 years ago or something like that? They go, yes, Jeff Burton led every lap caution-free. He goes, oh, yeah, by the way, my car's a little edgy. I could use a small air pressure adjustment. NASCAR 101 for our leader who's trying to hold off the 80.
Yep, Junior coming again. There you see the biggest movers. And Earnhardt Jr. trying to rope in Kyle Busch. Approaching the halfway mark here in New Hampshire. Kyle Busch is the race leader. Junior's closing in.
Nice race, Casey. See you later.
Kyle Busch continues to lead here at New Hampshire. Dale Earnhardt Jr. runs second. Then it's Carl Edwards, Jimmy Johnson, and Martin Truex Jr. with 146 laps complete. Time for our Aflac trivia question. Duck got him some wheels. Which driver in the top 12 has not led a lap in any of the 7 Car of Tomorrow races?
Did you know that Kevin Harvick has never led a lap of Puck? No.
Yes, I did know that.
Okay, I just want to throw that out because I've just found that's been my most interesting fact through all the TNT stuff.
And the answer to this is Jeff Burton.
Now we know 2 things, Kyle.
2 things.
How would you like to be an owner for a day? Log on to AflacRacing.com for details on how to enter. Jeff Burton runs in that 6th spot, looking back at Jeff Gordon, Martin Truex Jr., and Jimmy Johnson. Johnson is 4th, Truex is 5th. Marty can add here.
Well, Jeff Burton's had a little success here at New Hampshire, hasn't he, Bill, over the years? They've been awfully good at this racetrack. Burton used the 2 tires to get himself up into the top 5, and has been able to hang there. He was surprised as to how well his team was able to run up there in the front right now. And the car's been a little bit loose, trying to get that center to roll a little bit better, coming off just their 2nd top 10 since their win at Texas. It's been a struggle in the last 10 races or so for Jeff Burton and this team. They could use another one today.
Thanks, Marty. Where's that smoke coming from?
That was left front tire smoke from, I think it was Kyle Busch again. He's been doing that. Was that, or I mean, that was Truex, wasn't it? Is that a halfway mark I see?
Yes, sir.
Flagger doing?
Yep. And these guys have been going at it for several laps now.
Okay, we'll see if there's any. Oh, wow. Drove it in pretty deep that time. That was
a combination of he drove it in a little deeper, and I think the 48 was like, those guys behind you are catching us. Let's get back in line and go again.
That's 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th right there, Matt.
Bill, remember Jimmy Johnson was the one driver there that did not take tires. He says basically he has no grip. He is just drifting around this racetrack. Not like he's running a dirt track, but boy, it sure is close.
Well, he did a good job running with the 1 there, if that's the condition. Again, Johnson penalized 100 driver points, 100 owner points this week.
And when you don't have grip like that and somebody's racing you, you don't really want to race them because they're taking up your racetrack. You know, when you're sliding around, you need more racetrack. So you don't want to be racing with this guy side by side. Just let him go so you can use the racetrack.
He's got a teammate right behind him in Jeff Gordon. Then Denny Hamlin runs in the 7th spot. Hendrick Carr out front in a Car Tomorrow race. How about that? Kyle Busch leads at New Hampshire. NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing from New Hampshire is brought to you by DirecTV. Ride shotgun on race day with NASCAR Hot Pass only on DirecTV. By Burger King, who reminds you to have it your way. By Miller Lite. For award-winning taste, there's no debate. Miller Lite, good call. And by DreamWorks Paramount Pictures, Transformers starts July 3rd, rated PG-13. Kyle Busch is the race leader. There are 27 cars on the lead lap. John Andretti and Ward Burton out of the race, both with engine failure. Our Subway pit news is going to take us through the field. Start with the race leader, and here's Matt.
Kyle Busch won the very first car tomorrow race at Bristol, and he's also turned in stellar performances at flat tracks like Martinsville and Phoenix, where he finished 4th and 7th. He says the car a little edgy, but really just motoring right along fine. Lindsay.
The scary thing is that right now Dale Earnhardt Jr. running right behind Kyle Busch says he's only going about 70%. This is because he's really working hard to save the brakes. He felt like the brake pedal was getting a little bit soft, so he's trying to massage it to take care of it. And guys, this is a completely different looking car than he had yesterday. Ralph?
Carl Edwards keeps picking up a tenth or two almost every lap on the two cars in front of him. Edwards currently in 3rd. Crew Chief Bob Osborne saying just stay smooth. The two cars in front of you are coming back to you, Marty.
About 20 car lengths back is Martin Truex Jr., who deserves a little love, running in the top 5 with a pretty fast race car right now. On Friday, Martin turned 27. Announced this week also that Bass Pro Shop has re-signed with this race team car. Very good right now, Matt.
True champions always rise to the occasion. A year ago, that's exactly what Jimmy Johnson and the 48 team did. In the absence of Chad Knaus, 2 wins, a 6th and a 7th. Right now, though, they just would love to have a top 5 finish. 5 races without a top 5 for this 48 team. Marty?
Matt, Jeff Gordon said he knew his life had changed on Monday when he got home at 3:30 in the morning after the Infineon race, and said the only thing he wanted to do was play with baby Ella, who happened to be up when he walked in the door. Jeff has finished top 10 in all of his Car of Tomorrow races. So far, so good. A little bit too loose on this run for Gordon, Ralph.
Tony Stewart was considered a player when this race got started. He fell back. He's worked his way back up to 7th. The big problem for Tony Stewart has been getting beaten through the center of the corner. They raised the track bar a half around and took a half pound out of the tires in the rear end, Matt, and it seems to be working for that number 20 Chevy.
What a year Denny Hamlin has had with this car tomorrow. He's led 435 laps, but still trying to break into victory lane for the first time in 2007. Right now, he says the car slightly tight through the center, but overall, it's pretty good, Marty.
Right behind Mr. Hamlin is that 31 car of Jeff Burton, the white 31 car this weekend. Burton tried the 2-tire experiment, and as advertised by Kyle Petty earlier, after about 8 laps, settled in right here in the 9th position. The car a little bit too loose for Burton's liking. Would like a little more rear grip after the next stop, Matt.
Emmett Harvick says his car is still tight. Now, we've talked a lot about cooling for the drivers, especially with their helmets. This is a top-mounted air inlet flow of a Simpson helmet. There are a number of different manufacturers all starting to go this for several reasons, but the Simpson helmet here has 6 inlets that help circulate the air all throughout the inside of the race car to keep this driver cool. Now, Kevin Harvick said it works so well, he has actually had to close off 2 of the 6 inlets because it's actually dried his eyes out. Larry Mack?
Matt, the guys I've been watching, it's a typical Matt Kenseth type of a weekend. He qualified back in the 30th position in that 17 car. He comes in here 3rd in the points, finished 3rd in the Busch race yesterday. It's a Matt Kenseth type of a race. Long green runs. He's moved up to 13th. Watching the score monitor, he's about as fast as a lot of the cars up in the top 5 or top 10.
Thanks, Larry. We gave you a top 10 through the field. Montoya is 11th, then it's Robbie Gordon, then Kenseth, Stremme, and Sterling Marlin is 15th. It's Sterling's birthday today. Happy birthday to Sterling. Yesterday, Jeff Burton turned 40, and tomorrow, the King.
The King.
7-0.
Big 7-0, baby.
Any day you see the King is a better day.
Exactly.
172 laps now complete in New Hampshire. Kyle Busch leads Dale Earnhardt Jr., Carl Edwards, Martin Truex Jr., and Jeff Gordon. Those are your top 5. Some of the stories developing on pit road. David Stremme has a voltage problem. He might need to change his battery. And Kurt Busch, who was running at the front of the field most of the race, is currently 17th. They dropped a lug nut on their pit stop. That cost him several positions. He restarted back about 18th, I believe, and has not made much progress since then. Also, Ryan Newman, who restarted 27th after that penalty, has made his way to 20th, but he is 22 seconds behind the race leader.
Stewart's going to dive under the 48 here if he gets a chance. look, yeah, and 48, Jimmy Johnson's not even going to contest it right now.
Puts Tony 6th, drops Jimmy to 7th. Basically because of the tires and the no grip.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I mean, he doesn't want to be racing somebody because he's already sliding around the racetrack. So all you're going to do is slow both cars down considerably. So just let the guy go. There's nobody behind him, and just get back in your rhythm till that next pit stop.
Now behind these two guys, Denny Hamlin. And there's Denny. And he's got some damage on that race car.
He's got clobbered somewhere along the line. I mean, it doesn't look bad right there, but if we get a shot when he's coming right at us, that thing is crushed, Kyle.
Yeah, that's what I said. And look from the behind here. The left side tail light is driven all the way over, about 4 or 5 inches. He's very fortunate that it didn't get into the filler neck, but at some point in time, and I don't know when, following the race here, we didn't see it. He's got together with somebody pretty hard, either on the racetrack or leaving pit road.
Okay, we're told we don't have a great look, but let's see what we can see here.
Oh, Montoya going to slide up the racetrack, I bet. We talked about 3 wide doesn't work here.
You didn't have any damage when that started. Oh. Got some there. Matt, you knew that all along, didn't you?
Bill, that was back on lap 106, and the team was concerned about a possible tire rub, but they have run a number of laps. Everything is okay, but like KP and Wally said, there is a considerable pushed-in effect on that left rear quarter panel. Good shot of it right there.
Thanks, Matt. Still Hamlin in the 8th spot.
That was a good replay, and you saw those guys go down the straightaway, and as you saw them go away from you, you saw the 42 get up into the 11. The 11 had no place to go, but you see how much damage is done, and the cars just barely moved on the racetrack. Right. It shows how little, sometimes these cars, how little it takes to really knock these cars and mess them up body-wise.
I wonder what the right front of the 42 looks like.
You would think it would be just caved in after looking at that quarter panel.
For a quarter panel.
I bet we can find out.
We've got cameras.
Yes, we do. Everywhere.
You can run, but you can't hide.
There's Montoya.
And he got him in the door. He didn't get him in the right front fender. Well, that's a good place to do it.
Yeah.
That door's not going to give too much.
Juan's in the 13th spot. And there's that cushion in the door panel now.
Yeah, and those doors, because of the impact material that NASCAR mandates for the COT to make the cars safer for the driver, it's a lot stiffer than it used to be. Doors don't just cave in.
This should be interesting in traffic right now, and it looks like they're going to put the pole sitter down a lap. Up Dave Blaney right in front of Kyle Busch.
You heard that right there. He didn't get on the gas until he was almost on the straightaway.
Yeah, he's got some rear grip issues right there, especially forward bite, it sounds like, in the 8 car. Listen to the throttle. You see that he's going full throttle really late around the corner.
Really, really late.
Our Pepsi pit command. See the speed and the RPMs. That's first and second, going around the pole sitter, Dave Blaney. Blaney back in the 27th position.
But Junior's car rolls in really good. It rolls into the center. Just doesn't seem like you get that little bit of turn right through the center where the car's turning up where he can really mash the gas coming straight off.
Now he's got the whole racetrack. He may be able to use it.
Yeah. And he's got the lead. Running up on more lap traffic, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. back to the point here in New Hampshire. 182 laps complete. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. There's some fun racing going on here at New Hampshire right now. Carl Edwards has worked his way to second behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. And these two, Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin, have been side by side for several laps.
It's funny, Kyle. Jimmy Johnson let a lot of other guys go. He's racing the 11 car hard. We talked about, you know, being off on tires, but all of a sudden now he's getting pretty aggressive.
Well, one thing you hear people say is, hey, I'm going to race you as hard as you race me. I think we saw the 11 kind of get up into the 48 a little bit right here. As he comes up off the corner, the 11 eases up into him a little bit a couple of times, bumps him in the back a couple of times like, I'm here, get out of my way. 48's not going to let you by when you're doing that. I don't care who you are. The guy in front of you, when you start roughing him up, he's going to rough you up back. That's just the way it is. If you're going to dish, you got to take.
Wow.
Tough, man. That's the way it is out there. You see guys, you're running, you see guys, you come up on them, they pull over and let you go. When they come up on you later, you'll pull over and let them go.
We saw last week when Montoya got into the 48. 48 drove right back into Montoya. It's just like, no, this...
We don't do it that way.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's the way it is. And you remember that. You know, you not only remember that this race, you remember that 10 races down, 10 races down the road here, yeah.
This is for the lead, Earnhardt Jr. and Carl Edwards. This is back in the 8th position. Jimmy Johnson has it. Jeff Burton trying to take it away. Hamlin has raced his way to 7th. Been under green a long time. The leaders starting to trickle on to pit road. Jeff Gordon is there, headed for you, Marty.
Well, the first of the lead lap cars to hit pit road, Bill, and Jeff just says, I have to wait way too long on the gas in the middle of the corner. I need the car to have a little bit more security. They put a rounded wedge into the right side for Jeff Gordon. It'll be 4 tires and another quick stop. And no, they will not say go, go, go. It's just the jack that Jeff Gordon cues on to leave pit road.
For the lead, Carl Edwards and Earnhardt Jr.
Man. Well, I'll tell you what, Carl Edwards was sliding up the racetrack right there towards the 8 car.
Yeah, Junior waving out the window. He might be coming to pit road.
Yeah, I believe he's going to hit pit lane this time. This time by.
Marty.
Martin Truex Jr. already leaving pit road, Bill, with a very good stop. They've had some good stops here on the 1 car today. He was running 3rd, half a pound out of the left side tires, just a little bit tight for Truex. Lindsay.
Marty, thanks. Dale Earnhardt Jr. slowly making his way down pit road. The plan the whole time was to bring him in roughly lap 194, so they are in. They're not going to give him a lot of changes. They did take 2 tires on the last stop. Because of that, this time they will give Dale Earnhardt Jr. 4. He says he's still very, very pleased with his car. Had been a little bit tight, but they felt like they rectified that problem, and he's someone to be reckoned with today.
So Earnhardt leaving pit road, the 99 coming to pit road, Ralph.
That he is. He's still a little snug in the center, a little loose off. They're going to make a slight adjustments to some air pressure for him. He's going to stay down around 4,900 RPMs in 2nd gear. They lowered that a little bit just because they want to make sure they don't get a pit road speed penalty. Problem with the jack on the 99. Yep. This could cost them big. Tony Stewart, you see, goes by. They're having big troubles here on the 99 pit stop. This is the only hiccup they've had all day long.
They still don't have the car high enough.
Still
you see
can't
the
get it high enough.
Left front tire cannot get out on the car. Oh, that just took him right out of the race right there.
Right there.
Lengthy stop for Carl Edwards under the green. 47 seconds for Carl. Kurt Busch, Marty.
Critical stop for Kurt Busch and his guys. As you mentioned, Bill, they had a problem on their last stop. So far, clean on the right side. Kurt says the car just snaps loose on the exit of the corner, and it never really catches itself. 4 tires for Kurt Busch leaving pit road. Matt.
Marty, there is an issue on the right front, and crew member is going back over to the right front side of Kevin Harvick's car to hit a lug nut. Meanwhile, the 48 and the 5 have all pitted. Jimmy Johnson, they went down in the track bar to try to tighten him up. Harvick needed an air pressure adjustment. He was still plowing. Marty?
Well, Matt, Jamie McMurray during that run to the car is the best it had been all day. It's going to be 4 tires and a very slight air pressure adjustment at the end of that run. McMurray was a little bit too tight, a little bit longer stop than they would have liked.
Greg Biffle too fast exiting in the 16 car. Matt Kenseth to Marty.
That's twice for Biffle. 2 penalties.
Yeah.
This Last time he got a penalty as well.
Obviously, he's either gotten bad information about what pit road speed should be or has a bad read on his tack. His tack may be fluctuating or something. He's got a bad read because to get caught twice like that is very uncharacteristic of anybody.
Because normally if you get caught the first time, you'll drop it down maybe 100 or 200 RPMs lower than what you thought it is just to be sure. So yeah, he's way off.
Just to be on the safe side. Like I said, that was devastating for the 99 car.
Yeah.
And it was truly amazing to sit and watch, because when it happened, nobody did anything. It's like everybody just stood there and nobody really knew which way to go. You watched it fall off the jack for whatever reason, whether a tire hits it. Let's see if we can see why. It just fell off.
And then it took forever.
And he moves the jack. If you saw him, you see the official there at the 29 who says there's a lug nut off the 29. These are green flag stops. I think this shows how much a team sport this is. There's a guy taking the lead right before the pit stops happen, and boom, now all of a sudden he's what? One lap down? Maybe more, or at least that far down. That's why pit stops are so important.
Matt?
Bill, what a day for Ryan Newman and the entire Penske bunch. Both teams have had issues today on pit road. Remember, we told you earlier, we showed you the air impact gun when he left the pit and he hooked the hose on the splitter. The car wasn't bad, but that has really changed the entire tide of their day.
Exactly right, Matt. You get mired back in that pack, you just can't get out of it. Carl Edwards led before that dismal pit stop, the first time he had led a race at New Hampshire. Right now, it's DEI at New Hampshire. Earnhardt Jr. leads Truex Jr. on TNT. Just past lap 200 here in New Hampshire, and we are under the caution after a crash by Joe Nemechek. And watch this.
Great shot from Stremmy's car. The right rear wheel just leaves Joe Nemechek's car.
Watch that tire.
Yeah, watch it. This is where it gets scary.
Oh.
Right? I mean, if you hit that thing in a car,
or if it goes over that catch finch, a great catch finch. You gotta applaud this facility for having the catch finch as high as they do.
This is Kurt Busch.
That's
Watch
the tire
this.
bouncing.
watch how high this thing goes. Almost climbs over the fence.
So that's Jeff Green that just missed it right there.
And remember, this is just after a pit stop, and we thought maybe the wheel was broken, but the wheel doesn't appear to be broken like the center's broken out of it. It just was left loose, and he was trying to get slowed down. You could see he was already crossed up when it popped off.
So Joe Nemechek joins John Andretti and Ward Burton out of the race. There are 25 cars scored on the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the race leader. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Next week, we're off to Daytona for the Pepsi 400 from Daytona with our wide open coverage on TNT. I want to thank all those sponsors for participating in what's going to be a big night, the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Field has gotten the one-to-go signal. Ralph on Carl Edwards.
Guys, we had an opportunity to talk to their pit crew trainer about what went wrong with that pit stop on the 99. Now, if you watch the Jackman Tracy Duncan, the jack just slipped off the car because he didn't get a good set. Now, they are trained to go to that rear frame rail once the car falls off that way. They feel it's easier to get it in there, jack the car up, change that rear, and then go to the front. It's slower, but they think it's more efficient.
Yeah, it was 47 seconds worth of efficiency right there.
Yeah,
so there's no way.
I agree with that one.
I'm going to have to disagree with that. Somebody's going to have to relook at that.
You get 4 or 5 guys to lift on that window, you can get that jack back under there, and then both tire changers can change the tire at the same time. Not going to be a 47 or 48-second pit stop.
At least you get something under there to leverage the car up to get the jack under it.
Yeah.
And the guy came across the wall with that piece of equipment. They just didn't give him an opportunity to use it.
Carl Edwards will race pretty hard here to try and get his lap back in that 99 car. Martin Truex Jr. and Dale Earnhardt Jr. battling for first. Then Kyle Busch in the 5. Edwards in that 99, 1 lap down.
A little slip on Truex. That's all Earnhardt Jr. needed. He just spun the tires that little bit. Side by side getting in. Oh, now Junior gets sideways. And that's what Truex needed.
Marty.
The applause goes up in the one pit. This is exactly what they needed and wanted, Wally. They wanted to lead a lap, wanted to get those 5 bonus points, and they were going to, in fact, ask Dale Earnhardt Jr. if he would let him by. They decided not to. Martin, as he crosses the line, said, hey, we finally led a lap today.
Well, they earned it. That's for sure.
Gordon trying to close in on Earnhardt. Tony Stewart right there. And the 99 car doesn't look nearly as good as it was.
But I think one thing he's doing, he is the best car 1 lap down. All he really needs to do is get in line behind these guys and maintain. The 38 car is a lap down right behind him, but the 38 car has not been able to run at a level that the 99 has. So he's going to get the lucky dog. Why mess up these other guys? That's just classy racing and smart racing at the same time. We've not gotten a lot of cautions in this race. You know, he's got to hope for the lucky dog because he's not going to be able to get up there, not instantly anyhow, and get that lap back.
J.J. Yaley was the lucky dog under that last caution.
I mean, even if he races this way to get the lap back, he still needs a caution. Either way, he's got to have that caution come out.
Lindsay.
You guys were talking about Clint Boyer the day he's had. He was so excited because they felt like their car was really strong, but going back to Ryan Newman and the troubles he had, Clint actually caught on to that and ran over the air gun. When he did that, it caused a hole in their oil line, so that's what started this whole mess for Clint.
Thanks, Lindsay, and that explains the smoking when he came off of pit road.
All right. Yeah, that explains why he was running great before the caution, and then his day went to heck in a handbasket after the caution.
Clint has scored in the 38th position, 7 laps down. Gordon is 4th. Stewart is 5th. Ralph on Tony.
Well, Tony Stewart's crew's been working pretty hard on his car. They're making air pressure adjustments, messing around with the track bar. They're getting the car pretty good. He's up to 5th. Their biggest problem right now, he's hungry. Apparently he didn't eat enough before the race got underway. I guess he's going to need some of that lobster and clam chowder and pizza I've been hearing you guys talk about during commercial breaks.
You're not supposed to divulge that information, Ralph.
I'm going to tell you, every time we go to you guys down there, Tony's either hungry or he needs to take a nap or he needs to do something. Every time I see him, he's up on the wheel going to the front. That's all I know.
I see the 24 sitting there. I think Jeff Gordon's car is better on the long run. It seems like this car, it's as good as anybody at the start, but he needs a long green, it seems.
And this is a time where the race is going to come back to the way it was at the first of the race. All these guys pitted, no 2 tires, no tires, no gas and go. All these guys got gas and they got 4 tires. So they're as equal at this point in time in the race as they've been for the last 200 laps almost.
Marty.
Kyle, you know how you guys like that, you drivers like that middle sweet spot. You know, the car usually starts loose and it goes so tight at the end of the run. Somewhere in the middle, in theory, your car works pretty well. Well, for Jeff, on the last run, that never really happened. It was loose, and all of a sudden it went extremely tight. So Gordon wanted that tight condition out. He said, I can stand the loose at the beginning of the run, sacrifice that. As Wally said, the longer we run, the better we get, but we never enjoyed that in the last run.
84 laps to go. Up front, it's Martin Truex Jr. Out front by a little over a second over Dale Earnhardt Jr. at New Hampshire. Still under green here at New Hampshire. Martin Truex Jr. is the race leader. Time for our Miller Lite race fact. Matt Kenseth has 9 straight top 15 finishes at New Hampshire. Matt's raced here 14 times. His best is second back in 2004. Our Miller Lite race fact. By the way, that 2 car, Kurt Busch, is in 11th, and Matt is currently 9th. Denny Hamlin just got around Tony Stewart and did it pretty easily. into the 5th spot. See Tony back there in 6th. Kyle Busch runs in 4th.
Stewart looked like he was really charging there on the restart. But he let these last 2 cars go by, and I mean, he let them go by. I mean, obviously, like, he almost got on the brakes and let them go by.
Yeah, the 99 car, he almost stopped in the middle of the backstretch to let him go by. I mean, it was blatantly obvious that he was just giving up that position. And the 99 was a lap down, so it doesn't make any difference. But when the 11 called him and Wally pointed that out, it was like, yeah, you know, I don't know if he just doesn't feel like racing at this point in time or doesn't want to use up his stuff at this point in time.
Tony's a 2-time winner here.
Well, he is hungry, according to Marty.
That's true.
And there's your race leader.
Man, these guys come on a lot. Yes. I mean, it's almost like when that whole thing with Earnhardt was going on and Bass Pro Shops was on the fence about re-signing, and boy, they won that race at Dover, and it's all been going their way since.
It's like I said a couple of weeks ago, I've never seen one race change a team like it's changed this one team. There's a battle for 7th here with the 48 and the 31, but it just totally turned this group around where they think they're unbeatable. They think they're invincible. And I was going to say a minute ago, you give him a clear racetrack in front of him like this, at this place right now, he just goes, man. He just goes.
Marty?
Well, guys, and I was talking to Martin about that confidence, and he said, you know, last year and the year before really beat him into the ground. He said, you know, they won races in the Busch Series, they won championships, and they came here and just was not as successful. And Martin said, you know, in the offseason, I just said, I'm going to commit myself to this race team. Be at test, be at the shop, take the guys to lunch. And that's made all the difference in the world with his team and Martin's confidence. And, of course, Kyle, as you mentioned, the big win at Dover. This is the same race car today. Hasn't been on the track since then. Obviously, very fast today as well, and all that confidence certainly does not hurt.
And it's his other home track, right, Marty?
Exactly right. He came here, raced in the Busch D Series, and had a lot of success here. His dad raced here, so this is one of those tracks where he desperately wants to win as well.
18th here last July, 22nd last September, turned 27 years old on the 29th of June. This weekend, he's celebrating his 27th birthday. Uh-oh, Larry's been up to something.
I know what Larry's working on.
He's got toys, right?
Yeah, he's got toys.
I've been digging in my toolbox, boys. Now, Bill, let's go back to the problem that the 99 car had a while ago. I'm like Wally and Kyle. I'm from the old school. Now, we're using our Ford Fusion TNT test car to simulate what happened to the 99. You see, it's almost on the ground with the wheels off. What most teams have, and it varies in size and all, is something like this. When the car's on the ground, 2 or 3 crew members will grab it, put it underneath the frame rail, and lift the car up where they can get the jack back under it. I think this would be much quicker than what they tried to do.
I agree with you on that one, Larry.
It looked like they had that out there and they were trying it and they couldn't get it to work.
It looked like the guy jumped over the wall but never got an opportunity.
Yeah, the jackman was already in motion pulling that jack to the back. They started, everybody turned around and looked for that bar. But the jackman was already underneath the left rear. Well, if you're already there, you may as well finish what you started.
You see the pole right up there at the front.
Up there, but they can't get the left front on. So now he's got to get the left rear on, let it down, and like you said, go back, jack it up. That's an extra 20 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know how you would practice or do anything. And we practice this. These guys at the shop practice the car being on the ground and having to lift it up. And how can we save time? I don't know how anybody would think that was a faster way.
You usually have that one large
big
gentleman on your crew.
Not only for that, but to protect you after the race. But yeah, you always got that. You're right. There's always that one big guy that you get him and about 2 or 3 other guys. And normally they can lift that thing just high enough for the guy to slide the jack under that jack post.
Jimmy Johnson around Tony Stewart. That moves Jimmy into the 6th position. Martin Truex Jr. leads by 2.5 seconds over Dale Earnhardt Jr. Got to make at least one more pit stop with 69 to go. 237 laps are complete here in New Hampshire. Martin Truex Jr. is the race leader. Jeff Gordon is the new 2nd place car. Go to NASCAR.com and get Track Pass to see the same inside angles on every driver all race long. Truex leads by 3.4 seconds over Jeff Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. back to 3rd. Been a strong run for Truex. And here's the pass for second.
I think it appears to me that Dale Jr.'s got some forward bite issues on that car. It just doesn't look like he's getting that car off the corner. When he jumps on the throttle, he spins the tires just a little bit. That's just enough for the 24 to get by.
So Gordon to second, Earnhardt Jr. third, Kyle Busch is fourth. Matt?
Bill Busch being patient at this juncture, currently running in the fourth position. He did come on the radio, and he's showing a little bit of comedic effect, so to speak. He says, you know, if the 11 gets any closer to me, he's going to be taking the groceries out of the trunk. Because right now he's going to let the 11 take the inside, knowing one more stop and they can go the distance.
Thanks, Matt. So Denny Hamlin picks up the position.
You know, a lot of times during a race like this, you can kind of get into a rhythm and kind of find your area. With 50 or 60 laps to go, these guys have got to be running hard because we've had no caution. So there's no guarantee you're going to get back in touch with the leaders. The leaders are checking out from you right now. And even though you say there's going to be one more stop, whether we change 2, whether we change 4, whether it's a gas and go, it doesn't make any difference. You're going to be so far behind, you can't get caught up.
And this next pit stop is going to be really important. We've seen a lot of mistakes on pit road so far today. So these guys have got to be on their game the last pit stop.
So you see the lap leaders today. Truex Jr. currently the leader. Ryan Newman has picked up 9 spots since we restarted on lap 209. He's made his way to 12.
He's sitting in a good 20.
Pitting in 20.
That's what he said.
You can see the 58 to go.
15 will be expecting you on the bottom down here in 3 and 4.
So around lap just past 260 is when we should see the leaders coming in. See how that works out. Right now it's Truex out front in New Hampshire. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Just over 50 laps to go here in New Hampshire. Martin Truex Jr. is the race leader. 4-time series champion Jeff Gordon runs second. Then it's Earnhardt Jr., Hamlin, and Jimmy Johnson. Our pole sitter Dave Blaney has fallen to the 28th position. He's 1 lap down after earning the 2nd pole of his career and the first for Toyota. So Truex is out front. Let's take you through the field and start with Snyder.
Well, Bill, we're about 20 laps from the final pit stops of the day, or what could be the final pit stops of the day. And if they're under green, they could be very critical. You can easily pull away from someone with a very good stop. Martin Truex Jr., the only thing he said on the radio is, man, guys, this car is awesome. They're going to lift about lap 265 for coming on the pit road. You can see why this team has been running so well lately. Back there behind him, Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. Literally not a word from Jeff Gordon on this run. Tell you what, he's won 2 of the 7 Car of Tomorrow races. The way this is going, how good they are in the long runs, he could make it 3 out of 8 today. Lindsay?
Martin Dale Earnhardt Jr. says he's losing the nose a bit in the middle. Also, the left front is chattering. That could be why it was passed by Gordon. The plan is to fix them and give it an air pressure adjustment when they plan to pit on lap 265. He is, though, still using his humor. He actually joked with his crew saying he thinks the spring rubber was going to come out of his car. Then he said, just joking. Matt?
20 car lengths back is Denny Hamlin, the 11. He's led 7 of the 8 Car of Tomorrow races. Right now, a lot of different teams, including the 11, talking about different strategies for their last stop, depending on how many laps to the finish. They are looking at maybe going 2 tires. Meanwhile, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, he says his biggest issue is just trying to get back in the gas. He's having to wait so long. He said, if you do anything, you need to help me on exit. Meanwhile, the 5 of Kyle Busch, he said it's like being on a razor blade. 1 lap, he can make the car loose. 1 lap, he can make it tight. He says, in fact, I think when I jump the seam in the pavement between lanes, I swear, I lose 3/10. Marty?
Jeff Burton plans on pitting around lap 264, Matt. He said the car's a little bit free on entry, but actually it's pretty good. Gotten better throughout this run. His 31 team has worked very hard on this car today. They've made several changes, getting the car a little bit better throughout the day, Ralph.
Kenseth has 9 top 10s here at this racetrack. It's the best record among active drivers. He's working on another one right now, running in the 8th position. Air pressure adjustments seem to be the key for the number 17. That's what's gotten him to the position he's at right now. Matt.
Kevin Harvick led 166 laps yesterday, trying to pull off the sweep. Right now, just inside the top 10, back in 9th. His car has been tight all day. Just hasn't been able to get it to roll to the center. Caution on the speedway.
And Carl Edwards is the happiest driver in New Hampshire right now because he's in 26. He's going to be the lucky dog, and he has been the fastest car on the racetrack about the last 10 laps.
Debris bringing out the caution. And there's the unhappiest man. Yes. In New Hampshire, Martin Truex Jr.
Can he come in now?
Yeah, he should. These guys should come in now, but maybe not, because that was about a 30 or 40 lap run, 40 or 50 lap run. The 24 couldn't catch him. He drove away from the 24.
But you got to get fuel.
I understand you got to get fuel, but my point is, if you get tires and you go, it's not going to be a long run. We keep talking about the 24 being better on long runs. It's a 40-lap race now, or a 50-lap race. It's a shorter race.
Larry?
Well, Bill, I know Carl Edwards is happy, but I want to talk about 3 drivers that I have to believe are pretty happy about their day. They're the cars that are back there in 13th, 14th, and 15th. Jeff Green in the 66, he's in 13th. His teammate, Johnny Sauter, is 15th. Remember, that's the 2 teams that come in here 34th and 35th in owner points, so a top 15 run for them today could certainly pad that lead and stay in the top 35. And David Reagan in that 6 car, Roush Fenway Racing, continues to see a lot of the racetracks for the first time. You know what? He continues to click off top 15 runs as well.
Good points, Larry. Of course, the 66 and the 70 got into each other last week on pit road.
The 66 has run better this year than where he is in points. He's like the 22. When I look at Dave Blaney in the Caterpillar car, this has probably been the worst run they've had of all the races they've run. They have run really good. They've just had terrible luck with that Caterpillar car. Same with Jeff in the 66 car. He's had some great runs, not to have anything to show for him at the end of the day.
Matt Kenseth is the only Ford in the top 10. The rest are all Chevys. Larry?
Yeah, guys, I think we'll at least see these guys take 2 tires. You go back to Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car. We're going to have about 40 laps to go because they need about 8 to 9 gallons of fuel, so the 2 right side tires are almost free, and they're on pit road, boys.
Can't make any mistakes. Here they come. Marty?
Jeff Gordon told his guys, you got to make a good stop here. Martin Truex Jr. leads them on pit road. Gordon will hit his pit stall first, though. He reminded the crew this is a short run. You've got to tighten me up a little bit. They're going to do that with track bar and also air pressure on the 24. Martin Truex Jr., the leader, he said, guys, it's just a little bit too tight. Already around the left side for Truex. Quarter pound of left side tires for Truex, and a great stop for the 1 team, Lindsay.
Marty Dale Earnhardt Jr. is pitting 13 laps before they planned to. Remember, Junior's problem was the left front chattering. They did make that air pressure adjustment and hoping of correcting that. 4 tires and fuel, Matt.
Track position is everything. Denny Hamlin's team, they went with 2 tires. Small chassis adjustment. They told him, just go on the crew chief, Mike Ford. What a great stop by these guys.
Oh, strategy playing out at New Hampshire with 45 to go. Denny Hamlin leads the field off of pit road, but can 2 tires get the job done? We're about to find out. 43 laps to go here in Loudon, New Hampshire. These cars have probably been on pit road for the final time. Denny Hamlin taking just 2 fresh tires is the race leader. Martin Truex and a bunch of guys behind Hamlin have 4 fresh tires.
And it's going to be interesting too on the 24 if those guys made any adjustments, because I've been saying I think Jeff's car is really good on a long run. Now they've got 43 laps to go. I'd be curious to see if they made any adjustments for the short run. He is right on the one's bumper right now.
Tony Stewart restarts 19th. He had a problem getting into his pit stall, is the report from pit road.
When I looked down the window, it looked like he saw it at the last minute. I mean, just turned hard left and nosed it in. That's what it looked like from up here. Car Reed Sorensen, he is 1 lap down, but he's in between Hamlin and Truex right now. And we have a problem at 3.
Couple of cars.
Stremme,
Bobby
Labonte.
Labonte.
Yeah.
Also want to point out that Jeff Green restarted in the top 5. Currently a 2-tire stop for Green that got him up there.
Here you go. Stay caught up here. Week 6.
That'd be debris.
That would be more debris. Oof. He can fix it, but...
On board with Stremme.
David is going to get run into. Yep.
What's he working about him?
Wow.
I think that was just guys checking up, and some guys didn't check up fast enough.
That's hard to say. He's already sideways in that shot. But it's hard to say who hit who. There's Carl just barely getting through it.
Reed Sorensen is the lucky dog. He'll come around, join the cars on the lead lap under caution at New Hampshire on TNT. Pace car to pit road. Denny Hamlin is the race leader, and we're about to get the green flag for the restart. 38 to go.
Whoa! Hang on.
David Gilliland in the 38 car, the first car lap down. Again on the recent pit stops, the 11 of Hamlin took just right side tires. Truex Jr. and Gordon took 4 tires, 3 wide back there. There you see Jeff Green. He did take right side tires only on that last pit stop. Pick up about 9 spots on pit road by doing that.
We're going to get into the shoving a little bit right now, Kyle.
It's time. It's time for them to go. You know, these guys are going to go right now. And it's aggravating. If you're in a lead lap car and you've got lap cars up there racing you that hard, you know, the 22 car is a lap down. And, you know, I know Jeff's just gritting his teeth up on the steering wheel because there he is racing. But at the same time, the 22's racing for position in this race also.
Here comes Harvick in the 29. 7th, 8th, and 9th right there. Green's got the 6th position. Denny Hamlin just ran his fastest lap of the race. Always pays to be out in front.
Yeah, I mean, they're out front running, you know, 30.2, 30.3. These guys that we're watching right here, you know, they're about 6/10 of a second slower every lap, just because they don't have that clean air, they don't have that clean racetrack. They're running side by side. So.
And they can't use the whole racetrack. We've watched these cars run today, and these guys pinch them off and make them get loose and make them get tight. You need the whole racetrack to let your car be able to drift and give it a little bit of room to be able to do what you want it to do. And that's why when these guys got out in front, it's not only the clean air, it's that you're able to get into the gas. And so you need an extra 3 feet of racetrack. You got it. There's not a car there beside of you. You can let your car drift out to the wall.
Hey, Matt, it's a good day to be Denny Hamlin.
Great week to be Denny Hamlin. Out front trying to hold on for a win, but really, if you look at the big picture of life, he's already scored a victory earlier this week on Wednesday. He visited a children's hospital in Boston. He's wearing a helmet designed by a young lady, 13-year-old Maura Welch, who's a patient at the hospital. Then he presented the hospital with a check for $25,000. But he says the best part, Bill, he got a chance to spend the day with the kids, even playing remote control cars. But at season's end, all 11 race-worn helmets designed by kids battling life-threatening diseases, they'll auction them off and the proceeds will go to Victory Junction. So it's a great win-win situation.
Yeah, that's a great program they have going there with Denny. It really is.
Yeah, FedEx has been, I can't say what they've done for camp. They've gone above and beyond the duty for the Victory Junction game camp, and Denny's a great guy. I am really surprised that the 1 and the 24, though, are not all over him on those tires. Denny's driving it right now.
Yeah, but I think it's coming, Kyle. I think after about 5 or 6 laps, these guys get the pressures up, to get their heat in the tires, and I think all of a sudden they're going to catch him and fly by him.
Marty, how about Truex?
Well, guys, I'm not sure if we can see it, but Truex said on the restart, as he was coming up through some of the lap traffic, he hit his splitter with someone, and now he has picked up a push in that one car. Not sure if we'll be able to see it. It may be very small, but he notices it inside the race car.
Thanks, Marty.
You know, sometimes at this point in time during a race, drivers will say, well, that's a bad set of tires. They're tighter, they're looser. You know what it is? The driver just gets up on the wheel and is driving twice as hard as he's driven all day long. And you can bet Truex is driving now that he knows somebody's in front of him.
Going to drop back here to 14th and find Tony Stewart. Ralph, you've got the story on his stop.
Yeah, he just didn't get the pit stop angle right when he brought the car in, and the car came in at an angle and made it very difficult for the crew to get over the wall and service the car. As he was leaving pit road, he said to the guys, man, you guys deserve a better driver than me in this car here today. We talked about the pit stops this last stop. We were worried about the crews making mistakes. Kyle, sometimes it's the driver that can cost himself up pit road.
Most of the time, in my case, it is the driver. I will say that. At least that's what my team tells me. But sometimes, you know, you're focused. You're so focused on making the most time, getting in your pit box, you run past it, and that's about what he did. He was in line trying to get caught up, jumped in there at the last minute.
Well, we talk about this almost every week, Kyle, how hard it is to find your pit. Even though you've been there 5 or 6 times today, it's still real hard to find your pit.
Stewart on the bumper of Kurt Busch. Up front, it's Denny Hamlin. He's the leader at New Hampshire, just 28 to go. Denny Hamlin is the race leader. Time for our Nextel Getting It Done call of the race. Just going to give a call out to a driver or a team that's had a good day or a good weekend. KP?
Hey, I'll go. I said it. The 22 Caterpillar team with Dave Blaney. You know, Toyota sitting on their first pole, a bright spot in a dismal year for these guys. They've had no luck all year long, and to come up here and to start the weekend, they've not had the race they wanted by any stretch of the imagination. But my call of the race goes to Dave and that team.
Wally?
I'm going to go with Jeff Green, the 66 car. Like Kyle said, those guys... They've run good all year. They haven't been able to capitalize on how good they've run. Right now they're sitting in the 6th spot, so maybe today they can put a stamp on it.
Be good. Maybe be able to fight their way for a top 5. See how it plays out. I'm going to give it to the 43 car, Bobby Labonte, for a variety of reasons. One, he's 20th right now, still on the lead lap after that spin. Tomorrow is the King's birthday, and I just think that that piece on those kids at Victory Junction in the countdown just makes you feel good all over.
I appreciate that. That's a nice present. I appreciate that.
So call to everybody over at Petty and Bobby Labonte. Up front, it's Denny Hamlin, Truex Jr., Gordon Earnhardt, and Jimmy Johnson. And Martin Truex is trying to close in on Hamlin. And those 2 tires are getting it done for Denny.
You know, of all that team has been through this year, Denny Hamlin, how many times have we seen him get out of the car and say, well, the pit crew did this, or we let me down here, or this happened, or whatever. Mike Ford has put these guys in a position to win a race. This is a great call. No matter how it turns out, if he runs 2nd or 3rd, he was a 5th or 6th place car before the caution. He's definitely a top 2 or 3 car now and could be the winning car because of a call that Mike Ford made in the pits.
Last win 32 races ago for Denny. Larry?
All right, I'm going to go with the Nextel call of the race. I'm going to go to a man that was handed the 8 car 6 races ago, Tony Gibson, the interim crew chief. He'll hand it back over to Tony Uri Jr. next week at Daytona. And in these 6 races, if he can capitalize on the top 5 today, that will be 4 top 5 finishes for this 8 car in 6 races. Tony told me this morning all he wanted to do is hand Tony Uri Jr. back a car that's in the top 12 in points. It looks like he'll do it.
So, Larry, what you're saying is you're taking a crew chief.
Exactly. What would you expect me to take? It's all about the crew chief.
Wow. A discussion will continue later.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon, you know, we heard Marty talk about the 24 making some adjustments on the short run. I don't really think that worked, but this may be playing in his hands because if this thing goes green, they've run 20-some laps since that stop. And I think Jeff Gordon's car is going to get better as we go from this point on.
There's the 8 of Earnhardt Jr. that Larry was talking about.
These top 4 or 5 cars from the 11 car to the 48 car have really made no progress on each other since they dropped the green flag. They went off into the first corner spaced about this way, and they've been right there ever since.
Denny Hamlin was 10th at Sonoma, 14th at Michigan. You got more on Denny, Matt?
Well,
Bill, look at the big picture as far as the Joe Gibbs Racing Car of Tomorrow program. Now, Denny's just led over 30 laps today, but look at what they've done this year collectively. They've led 979 laps coming into today's race, and Denny has been so close. Fuel pickup problems at Bristol, pit road problem at Martinsville, pit road speeding at Phoenix. They have been so close. Maybe today is the day they finally get the payoff. Marty?
Well, Matt, we talked earlier about the momentum for Martin Truex Jr. This is a team that has gained 9 spots in the championship standings over the last 6 races. Currently, they would make the chase for the Nextel Cup. You know Martin wants to win. He is catching Hamlin by an agonizing about 5/100ths of a second every lap. Barely gaining on him, not much at all, but they know he wants to win here at New Hampshire, one of his hometown racetracks. But nonetheless, if they finish right where they are, this is a team with momentum. It will be their 4th top 5 in the last 5 races, Bill.
And you talk about momentum, and Hamlin's another guy that has that. He has 9 top 10s in the last 11 races. So like Kyle was talking about, you continue to knock on the door and get those top 10s and top 5s, you will get to victory lane. Right now, Gordon thinking about going to the inside of Truex. 13 to go.
13 to go. Somebody's got to make a move here. Gordon's either got to try to get around the 1, because the 1 is not gaining on the 11 at all.
And Hamlin hopes that the 24 races to 1 for about the next 5 or 6 laps.
And it's really only going to take, with 10 or 12 laps to go, it's really only going to take a couple of laps side by side. Looking at the times we've seen here so far, they slow down so much running side by side through the corners that he gains the 10th or 15/100ths a lap, whoever's out in front of him.
Gordon briefly side by side, then fell in behind Truex.
Yeah, I think Gordon knows he's going to have to, if he's going to get this done, he's going to have to get it done and get aggressive real quick here.
Earnhardt got a little loose. Marty?
Well, Bill, give a little credit to the driver. Matt Yoakum asked Jeff Gordon in the Allstate Countdown to Green earlier today. He said, will you make some calls from the cockpit today? Jeff said, I might. And Jeff did on this last one. He told the guys, remember, we're going to have a short run here. As Wally's pointed out today, we're better on those long runs. We have to make changes to the car to be better in this short run. So far, it looks like they've done it. Not a word from Gordon on the radio. He's all over the back bumper of that 1 car, Bill.
And Wally, you know, here's something that happens kind of late in the race here, too. Okay, the 1 car, he's seen that 11 car, and he's not really gained on him. So at some point in time here in the last 8 or 10 laps, even though you're driving the wheels off of it trying to win the race, you switch from offense to defense. You just want to protect that second place position. Yeah. Obviously, he's getting ready to lose it right here, it looks like. But you switch from offense to defense saying, okay, there's no way I'm going to catch the 11 car. I've got to maintain and keep this second place.
Gordon and Truex for second.
Traffic up there and
bounce up top.
There is not much traffic in front of Truex in these closing laps.
Was that his radio that said found something up top? Because he jetted up off of turn 2 over there a minute ago and down the backstretch to make that move to get in free against traffic.
You got to look at Carl Edwards.
You really do good up top like that. He can't get to you. Clear.
That is the radio of Martin Truex Jr.
I tell you, Gordon's trying everything he can to get at least to his door. If he can get to his door,
keep digging it, buddy. There you go.
And get down the straightaway side by side, he can try to outbrake him. Boy, he rolled it in there too that time, but he knows he's got to get up beside him. Okay, now he's beside him. If he can stay there, he just doesn't have the racetrack to do it. He's got to drift up and use it all.
Exactly, like we were talking.
Keep it up.
Like we were talking earlier, he needs the whole racetrack to be able to let that car run free. He's pinching it off, which is killing horsepower, which is killing his drive up off the corner. And all the 1 car has to do is let it roll free. But the 1's driving, you know, he's trying to make time, but he's halfway driving defensively right now.
All right, now we may see it. Oh, wow, that's very. I thought Gordon was going to really outbrake him that time.
I think Jeff tried to back off that time to get a better run up off the corner.
Here a little bit. He's got his nose there.
All right, now we'll see if he can
staying with you, staying even.
Dive it down in there and
need to finish. Need to finish.
I think Gordon's got him here.
Gordon to second with 6 to go.
Okay, cool it off. You got 6 to go. 6 to go.
Now he sets out after Denny Hamlin in that 11 car just in front of him.
And I think he needed to get it done by then. Another 2 laps, Kyle, I don't think he could have run Denny Hamlin down. So we'll see on this lap now that both guys have clean air in front of them. Boy, and Gordon made a lot of ground right there on that 11 car getting into turn 3.
That was really good, smart driving by Jeff Gordon there. He knew he couldn't dive in the corner and beat him, so he backed off getting in 1, got a run up off 2, and then dive bombed it going into 3. And that's experience, and that's a great driver.
And that lap there, Jeff Gordon was 0.3 of a second faster than the leader, Denny Hamlin.
Marty.
Bill, just a reminder, these Hendrick crew chiefs have a way of winning their first ever race. Remember Randy Dorton won with Terry Labonte. Remember Brian Weitzel won with Jeff Gordon at Martinsville, and Darian Grubb with Jimmy Johnson at Daytona. Could Jeff Mandering pull off his first ever win in his debut as a fill-in crew chief for Jeff Gordon?
Jeff's going to do everything he can to make that happen.
But he's got to get to him first. He's got only 4 laps to do it.
Gordon's last win here came in August of 1998. He has 3 victories at this track.
Tell you what, Jeff gets in the turn 3 really, really good. He makes up a little bit of time on the 11 car, getting into 3. But Denny Hamlin is getting off the corners pretty strong right there.
Denny's getting through the middle of the corner and off of 4 up here. Fantastic. I mean, his car is still hooked up even with the 2-tire change.
Less than 3 laps to go.
It always amazes me on those 2-tire deals and 4-tire deals. I always think 4 tires is going to wind up being better.
Denny Hamlin took 2 tires on his last pit stop for track position. Gordon took 4. 2 laps to go. Boy, it looks like Gordon's hosed in a little bit.
Well, Gordon's driving it. There's no question about it. He's driving it in. He's trying to make up as much time as he can. Hamlin's just, he's running his line. He's running smooth, and there's no pressure right there. So the best thing to do is not look in your mirror right now for Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, just keep running his line. But you see Jeff drive in. Jeff drifts up a little bit in the middle, diamonds the corner, stands in the gas, and drives it straight up off. But this is the last lap right here, man.
White flag in the air. Leader has it. Jeff Gordon doing everything he can to try and get to Denny Hamlin. Hamlin's last win 32 races ago, won both Pocono events last season.
This is going to be good in 3.
You're about 1. You can do it.
Gordon right on the bumper.
Oh, Hamlin slipped just a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Oh, Gordon looked to the inside, couldn't get there. Hamlin gets loose. They charge to the line. Denny Hamlin wins. 2 tires beat 4.
Hell yeah. Damn. Good job, Mike.
Oh. Kurt Busch in the wall.
And that's in turn 4.
Coming to the checker.
Right.
Has not crossed the start-finish line yet.
Well, lost a lot of positions there.
But he wins the burnout contest.
So Denny Hamlin gets his first win of 2007.
Drove like a wuss his last 2 laps trying not to make a mistake.
It's his 3rd career win.
Got it done. Good job.
The 11th different winner in 2007. And as I recall, that's 6 different winners in the last 6 races here at New Hampshire.
I tell you what, Denny did a great job. He drove down in that corner. Jeff drove in behind him, and you could tell he peeked in the mirror just a little bit and jumped on the gas. And when he jumped on the gas, that thing jumped around on him. But I'm telling you, man, he drove a great race. That was a great call by Mike Ford. You got to give that team a lot of credit for making that gutsy call.
And this is also a team where Denny had openly complained about pit stops earlier in the season, and they went ahead and made the changes to try and make the team better.
That's true. They made changes to make this a better team and to do what Denny wanted. And Denny stepped up. When they make changes, when you complain and you make changes, and then you don't step up and do your job, you got to step up and do your job. And I'm going to tell you something. Denny Hamlin stepped up and did his job today.
And he kept his cool after that incident with Montoya. Not that that was anything big, but it was certainly in traffic. And you can see the damage to the rear of his car.
I mean, Gordon got to him in turn 3. He was getting in there really, really good. Hamlin jumped on the gas, got a little bit sideways. Boy, if it was another lap, Kyle, I think it would have been a different outcome. But you're right. Those guys made a great call on that 2-tire deal. I did not think they'd be able to hold them off.
That's a 4-time series champion chasing a guy who just finished his 60th Nextel Cup race. And there's a very happy guy, Lindsay.
Guy is crew chief Mike Ford, who made a crazy gutsy call there. Why did you decide to go with 2 tires?
Well, you know, we didn't have anything for the front 3 today. You know, we were back in 6th, 7th position most of the day. Only shot we had was to get track position, and you know, 2 tires worked for us earlier, and you know, we kind of made an oath. Anything inside 120 laps to go, we were going to do 2. You know, we feel like we're comfortable inside the chase here, and you know, roll the dice a little bit. We had a cushion back to 13th and felt comfortable being in, so we knew we could take some aggressive cuts and try and get some points for when the chase does start. So that was part of the aggression there.
Mike Ford, extremely positive and happy about his win. Bill?
Thanks, Lindsay. We'd like to welcome you to the Nextel Cup post-race show here on TNT. Denny Hamlin getting ready to celebrate in victory lane. Let's check with Marty.
Well, a hard-fought second place for Jeff Gordon. I tell you what, you needed one more lap, I think. I'm assuming you were driving about as hard as you could into every corner right there.
Yes and no. This car, you can't overdrive it. The harder I tried to drive, the slower I went. But, you know, I fought so hard with Martin there, and it was a great battle, man. I had a lot of fun racing with him. That we used up a lot of our stuff. So it took me a couple laps once I got in front of him to get readjusted and get back into my rhythm. And, you know, we were running Denny down, and he was doing a great job. At the end, those last 2 laps, he started watching his mirror, and I thought we had a shot at him. But that was fun. That was a lot of fun. I'm really proud of Jeff. I mean, during, you know, to come in here with that kind of pressure and make great calls, you know, and great adjustments. The whole DuPont Chevrolet team, I'm real proud of these guys. That shows what we're made of, and that's why we're where we're at in the points, and hopefully that's why we're going to win some more races before it's all over.
Let's go to Matt Yoakum, who's in victory lane.
And the FedEx guys have been waiting for almost a year to make their return visit to a Nextel Cup Series victory lane. And after JGR has led over 38% of the car tomorrow laps, first off, take us on the last half lap.
Oh, man, I tell you, I was driving like a wuss those last few laps, trying not to make a mistake. And you know, those guys with fresh tires were coming, and man, Martin held them up just long enough to you know, to get this win. But I got to thank Jeff. He could have got him 10 more bonus points right there, but he chose not to, and I appreciate that.
And Mike Ford and this team, perfect all day on pit road, but Mike Ford never debated, never wavered on the call. 2 tires the entire way. That was the call that got you the win.
Yeah, definitely. Our FedEx ground team was pretty good all day. We were a top 4 car for the most part, but I knew all we needed was clean air for this car to be good. And I just can't thank everyone enough. Chevrolet, Coca-Cola, Wiley X, the whole FedEx team, Joe Gibbs Racing, the pit crew for turning this deal around. And
finally, you're here.
It's amazing. Finally get a win.
Denny Hamlin scores his first New Hampshire victory. Bill?
Thanks, Matt. Hamlin's 7th top 10, his 6th top 5 in the 8 Car of Tomorrow races. Now let's go back, watch the finish deeper in the field. It's Kurt Busch in the 2, David Reagan in the 6.
Reagan left. He just locked up the left front and drove right into the 2 car, Kurt Busch.
But they were racing for position. Those guys were racing for position right there. And he just goes down in the corner, man, and he's on the brakes as hard as he can, and it just goes straight. You see the 7 car behind him, he locks them up at the same time, knowing something's happening.
Now on board with Kurt Busch.
I mean, it wasn't an intentional deal on Reagan's part, but that doesn't matter where Kurt Busch is sitting right now.
And unofficially, David Reagan 15th and Kurt Busch 21st. Marty?
Well, Martin Truex Jr. in the final few laps went from playing offense to playing defense. You know, were the final few laps fun or frustrating for you?
Both. A lot of fun to race with Jeff and Denny and Dale Jr. and them guys. But frustrating because I thought we had the car to beat till that last caution. Just that last set of tires, man, didn't agree with me. I'm not sure why. You know, right from the get-go, we took the green, and I pushed real bad going into one, and I was real loose off, and it just stayed that way. I'm not real sure why, but, you know, Denny kind of snookered them 2 tires. I think if I could have got out front, I'd have been all right, but I'd get right there, and it was like I just couldn't get any closer and burn the front tires up trying to make a turn, and then I got to racing with Jeff, and you know, it was a lot of fun after that. Just frustrated. I thought we had the car to beat, but proud of all the guys at Best Pro Shops Chevrolet. Bono did an awesome job with the adjustments. We were pretty far off the start of the race, and just kept working on it, man. And we had a lick there for a little while, but just wasn't meant to be.
Not a bad week, though. He turned 27, re-signed his sponsor, and leaves here with a top 5. Lindsay.
Marty, thanks. Not a bad weekend for Dale Earnhardt Jr., who started out with what you were complaining about your race car. Dale, you said it was awful. So how do you go out there today and finish 4th?
Well, I forgot about the mods and the tire rubber that the modifieds put down yesterday. It took us about 15, 20 laps to knock that off or get a coat of Goodyear rubber down, and we got to run and turning better. My car just came right in, and we ran great all day long. We didn't adjust for the track enough there at the end. As it cooled off and the track cooled off, we were getting a little tight, but I can't say enough. I got to thank Tony Gibson, being crew chief the last 6 weeks. This is his last race before Tony Jr. comes back. Tony Jr.'s got his work cut out for him because we run so good with Tony Gibson filling in. He's done such a great job. I can't thank him enough. This team owes him incredible debt because where we are in the points and everything.
Ralph.
Carl, I think you got a little close to the Red Sox today with a thing called the Curse of the Bambino. You had an unbelievable race car. Tell me how frustrating it was when this car fell off the jack.
I don't know if I can describe it on network television how frustrated I was. I just have to thank everyone at the Boston Red Sox, everyone at Fenway Group, you know, Lumber Liquidators and Gillette for coming on board. And it's not a curse. I mean, we still finished 13th, and I'm thinking about my buddy Sam Russell today. He suffered a little injury, and this one's for him. This is one of the best runs we've had this year, and I'm proud of it. It's there's not much you can do about stuff like that.
One of the things they talked about on the radio was staying together as a team and going after that championship. Thanks, Carl.
And that's a frustrating moment right there for driver and crew. 47-second pit stop for the 99 bunch. Denny Hamlin back in victory lane. 3rd time in his career, 1st time this season. Let's check in with Mark and Larry.
All right, thanks very much, Bill. And you know, Larry, Gibbs Racing has led so many laps in these car and tomorrow races. You figured it just had to be a matter of time before they finally win one, and indeed they do get one here with Hamlin today.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Yoakum talked about that during the race. You know, you look at the fuel cable problem he had at Bristol. You pretty much look at the pit road speed at Phoenix. He should have won 3 or 4 of these races. But, Mark, I love it. We talk about it all the time. Races can be lost on pit road. When you look at the 99, 29 of Kevin Harvick, the 12 of Ryan Newman, mistakes on pit stops that were very critical, and they can be won on pit road. You look at that call that Mike Ford had. A big tip of the hat to Goodyear. Those left side tires on that 11 car had over 100 laps on them, so big tip of the hat to those boys.
And one of the big concerns we had today is what kind of racing were we going to see with the car tomorrow on this track. That was a concern. Would we see exciting racing down the stretch? We saw some pretty good racing.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, that's 8 car tomorrow races, and almost every race, every finish has been so exciting. A bid attaboy to NASCAR for going ahead and making the call, saying in 2008 we were running the car tomorrow. Little tidbit of information, 8 car tomorrow races. No one has ever had to go to a backup car either.
Great stuff, and again, big win for Denny Hamlin. Bill, let's get it back up to you.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Larry, good job down there. You too, Mark. We appreciate it. Fans filing out after seeing Denny Hamlin go to victory lane. First win for Gibbs in 2007 and the 55th win for the coach and his organization. Here are the unofficial results from today's race. So Jimmy Johnson in 5th. Jeff Green came home 6th. Matt Kenseth got himself a top 10. Ryan Newman fought his way back into the top 10. And Tony Stewart came back after that problem on pit road to finish 12th. Juan Pablo Montoya, 19th. Sterling back in the 24th position. And some of these guys really had their hands full most of the day. There's our pole sitter, Dave Blaney. Coming home in the 29th spot. Greg Biffle, 31st. Got, I think, 3 speeding tickets today.
you know, as you go up and down through here, not a lot of guys went from the back to the front, but a lot of guys went from the front to the back. Right. When you really look at where they started and where they finished, the guys that finished in the back, 3 or 4 of them had trouble, were in wrecks and things like that. But this is a hard place to make ground on, and that was a great race coming down to the end.
Chevy takes the top 8 positions. Then it's Kenseth in a Ford and Ryan Newman in a Dodge in 10. 20 lead changes, 11 leaders, 1 winner. Denny Hamlin, and our coverage will continue here on TNT. TNT Sports at the New Hampshire International Speedway, where Denny Hamlin is the race winner, and the exciting day of sports on Turner Sports continues over on TBS. Braves baseball, and then later tonight after the Braves game, the Major League Baseball All-Star Selection Show over on TBS. Hope you enjoy that. Let's check with Ralph.
Well, David Reagan was credited with 15th finish today, but David, you're involved in a little incident with Kurt Busch at the end. Can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, well, Kurt was racing us really hard, holding us tight to the bottom, and I was racing maybe a little too hard for for a 15th or 16th place finish. But our AAA Ford Fusion was great. We just got to work on our qualifying effort a little bit. We got to have some better track position at the start of the race. But Jimmy Finnegan and all the AAA guys did a great job on pit road. We made some adjustments, and that deal in the last lap was just hard racing. Kurt might say it a little different, but it was just hard racing, and I'm sure we'll talk and everything will be cool next week.
Bill, I did try to find Kurt Busch. He'd already left the racetrack. I asked his crew chief, Pat Trison, if he said anything about it after when he came back to the hauler, and he said no.
Okay, Ralph, thanks a lot. Good hustle down there. All right, unofficial championship standings. Next week, we get to halfway. Jeff Gordon, a 156-point lead. Jimmy Johnson climbs up 1 spot to 4th. Clint Boyer in the 11th spot, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 12th, and here you see the guys trying to race their way into the top 12 so they can compete in the chase. Next week, Daytona.
Big day, man. Big day at Daytona. Daytona's going to be great. Wide open coverage. Some of the stuff we're doing down there on TNT, but that is a race at the halfway point that sets the tone for the second part of the year. It's the first restrictor plate race we've had in a little while. Everybody's back in that type of mode, and I'm looking forward to it. Under the lights at Daytona, there's nothing better than that race.
Now you wonder what this win is going to do for Denny Hamlin.
Well, I mean, look at it. I mean, these guys are, second in points right now. These guys are on a roll. They've been good all year. I think they're just going to keep trucking. I think they're going to be dangerous between now and the rest of the season.
I think so too. I mean, if you listen to Denny talk, he's been so down about things. Well, we could have done this, we could have done that, we could have, if, all of a sudden it's happening for him. And even through the ifs, he's up there in the top 5 and 6 and 7, trucking along in the points.
Congratulations to Denny and the guys. Next week, join us Saturday night for the Pepsi 400 from Daytona, featuring our wide open coverage. Our coverage begins at 5:30 Eastern time with 24x24 wide open with Jeff Gordon, followed by NASCAR on TNT Live, then the All-State Countdown to Green, and then the Pepsi 400. Coming up next on TNT, don't miss Ice Cube in Torque in the East, and out west, Tom Hanks in Castaway. For Wally, Kyle, all the people on pit road, and everybody in the truck and around the track, I'm Bill Weber. Thanks for having us in for the race. Denny Hamlin wins at New Hampshire.
Come on!